how do I put it? It was like, what do you care about them? What do you care about those people? What difference does it make to you? Take care of your own life. Do the best you can for you and your family. What do the rest of the people mean to you? They don't mean anything to you. They're just serfs. They're just people. You know, what's the end goal? The end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society. They want a one-world government controlled by them. Everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
Yes. Welcome back. It's Friday night. It's Rise Above. And I tell you what, tonight is a music special. We're going to get straight down to business. Who's in the Crucible tonight? We've got a special guest, and it's not Mark Devlin, not just yet. He's coming later on. Let's say hello to Magix. Yo, Magix, take him away with the intro sound, brother.
Get out with your friend. I'm Ginger, and you're listening to Mad Madness. I'm Ginger, and you're listening to Mad Madness.
Body going stiff and your spine going numb.
DJ Magic.
Now come to get some.
Magic. but I haven't got a stitch to
Even though the dancing's done, don't worry 'cause the night is young. Who cares where we go? We're ready for the afterglow. So close to the right now. 'Cause we want this night to last. Smoke games of stars, rainbows afterglow.
Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Guess who it is? Guess who it's not? Big up Handy PG.
Yeah, good evening.
Welcome to Rise Above, everybody.
Rise
Oi,
above,
Magic,
y'all.
she just smashed it, bruv. Thank you very much, mate. Let's get rid of one of these cameras. We don't need so many going on. How's everyone doing on a Friday night? Let's know how we're sounding.
Stoked
We've
for
just
this evening's
Oh yeah, it's
show.
going to be sick. It's going to be a great show. We've just transitioned from decks to studio. Is it sounding good? It's sounding crisp.
Nice,
Big up
no
Oma Beats.
issues.
I would just like to start off by pointing out, look at this masterpiece. Oma Beats, can you work the camera over here? Show the crew. This is what your donations money is going on, guys. This is what we're spending your money on. Look at this. The sacrificial crucible, where we sacrifice the beat every single week. I've been illustrating the skyline. This is all hand-drawn by the one like Double LMC. That's right.
Yeah, man, check out.
Big up Sam Carno, big up Sooty, Victoria Campbell, Bradley Golden, everyone. Ramen the Writer. Right, need to address something. Ramen the Writer, you donated £5 via Super Chat last week, and Oma Beats forgot to do your shout-out. Sorry, your request.
It's not that ramen.
He didn't
quite
see it.
man.
He didn't see it. So what we're going to
Quite
do
sure
is
it was
you get a free request tonight. So remember, anyone that's watching on Double LMC on YouTube, you have the ability to do something called Super Chat. In the chat room, if you feel so inclined, if you're really enjoying the stream, you can send us £1 or a £5 or even a tenner. Someone sent us a tenner last week. Thank you to Becky S. Very generous. Look, you can see what we're spending your money on, guys. Right, let's share the screen as well because we've got some stuff to get through. We've got some stuff to get through. I tell you what, let's invite the crew. Let's invite the crew.
Let's get them in.
We had the sound check last week. StreamYard have assured me there are no more echoes. Let's start with Inner Guardians. Inner Guardians, hope you're ready.
Salutations, everybody.
Salutations, Master Lee.
Salutations, Master Lee.
You sounded very crisp. No echo?
No echo on my end.
No echo.
Sounding good.
Sounding good.
Guys, let us know in the chat, yeah?
Thank you very much,
Let us know how
StreamYard.
Master
I tell you
Lee's
what,
sounding.
Mylon at StreamYard, yeah, we had our sound check this week, and he was forced to watch some of last week's show. I kept asking him, what do you think of the content? He wouldn't say a
What do
word.
you mean forced to watch? He was lucky. He was lucky.
Should we
enough to
invite
watch.
our other team member, Mr. Spoken Word Nizzle? Where is he? Word Nerd. Are you there? Word Nerd? No? Okay. We won't dwell. So let's also share the screen because we've got some stuff to get to. Okay, it's Rise Above Live. We are live in the studio. Andy PG, Inner Guardians, Magix, and Oma Beats. And who's coming tonight, Andy PG?
We've got a very special guest who I am particularly looking forward to picking his brain.
This man right here, Mr. Mark Devlin.
That's
He's on his
it.
way down. He should be. Oh, look, Sensei with no echo. Thank you, StreamYard.
Yes.
Thank you, StreamYard. We finally got it sorted. And thank you to Millie's mate who just donated a tenner towards the cause.
Awesome.
So, right, let's get through things in the right order, shall we?
Big up.
This
Millie.
is what it's all about.
Yes, that is right.
Rising above.
We're rising above. We're trying to improve the platform every week. We're expanding the table because that's what Inner Guardians has coined it. The table here. We've built a whole crucible over here, a whole altar,
We've got
and
a
we're actually
sacrificial altar ready
Yeah.
for Hillary Clinton.
ready to lay it down. So big up the Devlin, says Benny Breaks.
Yeah, everyone's been looking forward to this. 127 people watching. Guys.
Really,
Awesome,
127 already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are digging this.
So big up Bradley Gold and all the Texas crew, wherever you're watching from tonight.
Bradley Golden, no echo. What universe are we in?
What universe is this? It's the universe where we said to StreamYard, we're going to cancel that subscription if you don't sort it out immediately. And it's sorted, so here we are. Right. Before we invite our guest, we'll get back down to our usual business. Thanks to everyone that's watching. Don't forget to get us on Telegram, Rise Above Official, riseabove.news. The website is looking sick. It's an absolute red pill Armageddon. If you want to help your friends and family extract
There's
their
everything
essence,
there, everything there from
everything you need.
Antarctica to UFOs to political issues. It's all there.
You can talk on the mic if you
Magix,
want.
get on the mic, mate.
Let
Get
me
on
turn
the
you
mic.
up. Have you? You need to turn that mic on the decks. So all of Magic's mind blowers, his special spider diagrams, all of that deep research, that's all on the website. Big up everyone tuned in on Facebook as well. You need to turn that. Oh, right, okay. What's this? Big up Inner Guardians. Enjoyed the latest video. Yes, Inner Guardians. Tell us a little bit about the video that you dropped today.
Yeah, well, it was designed for tonight.
I've got
But-
the 6-minute version.
Yeah, no, this is 19 minutes.
Okay.
I couldn't send it over, so I uploaded it to YouTube.
Right. So if anyone wants to, someone just said echo.
Right.
He's echoing again. That's extremely disappointing.
Oh, StreamYard.
All right, let me boot him out again. Right, we'll carry on. So, everyone, if you want to donate to the Rise Above fundraising at GoFundMe, it's Rise Above fundraising at GoFundMe. And there is also the GoFundMe for my legal costs. If you want to help me out when I fight the COVID union, I won't dwell on that. What are we doing next week? Transhumanism.
Yes, we are.
Let's invite Spoken Word Nerd. If there's an echo, I'm not going to muck about. Word Nerd, how you doing?
Yeah, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, sound good. Has anyone got a Word Nerd echo? Let me know.
1 2 1 2. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be doing transhumanism. This week it's Mark Devlin. Right, T-shirts. The T-shirts are going to be landing in the studio tonight. The Rise Above T-shirts are back in. I've got like 27 of these, and we've got a new colour. We've got grey. There's a new colour, grey. Echo and Word Nerd. All right, sorry, Word Nerd. Right, StreamYard, you're finished. I'm getting a new platform.
Ooh.
It is. I
Yeah,
told them.
well,
I'm not dwelling on it
they've
this
been
week.
told.
If we had a sound check and everything was perfect, if it happens this week, we'll just do an in-studio show only because we're not going to dwell on that. Right. The rabbit design, the upgraded rabbit design is literally on its way to the studio right now. There are 25 of these T-shirts. The new, you know what time it is, Double LMC signature design of the white rabbit. They are £25 each, and they are on the way to the studio now. Mike from BH Clothing should be here within the hour, so we should be able to have a look at them. I'm accepting orders right now on the banners. Let's get the email up. Where is it? Rise Above T-shirts. Here we go. This is how you order a Rise Above T-shirt. It's riseabovelivestream@gmail.com. The regular design is £20. These hand-drawn rabbit designs by myself. This is limited edition. These are 25. There's only 27 of these available. So first come, first serve. Email me, and I'll go through your emails in time. So you know I've been designing these different collections, right? The whole rabbit collection. I've had some ideas, right? Now see these epic rabbit hunters. Now I'm just putting this out there, right? If I transposed and I redrew these with members of the Rise Above team, would people wear these on a T-shirt? Is this something we can get down with? Is people digging this metaphor? It's the whole rabbit collection. Here's another idea I have for a hoodie or a T-shirt. See these different cuts of rabbit? Well, we're going to transpose that with our esoteric understandings. The white bunny, light occult.
Should be four-leg.
Four-leg. Oh no.
Four-leg.
Okay. Good correction there. These are just ideas. I'm floating it with everyone. If you guys would wear this on a hoodie, someone let me know. Word Nerd, last chance not to echo. How you doing?
Echo.
The pressure's on with
The
it.
pressure's on. If there's an echo now, this is the last chance for
We
StreamYard.
just can't have any echo this evening with Mark Devlin in the studio.
No, we can't.
Look
So
at this. This is great. I haven't seen this.
this is one I drew. I copied the drawing off in the top left. I might alter it a little bit. This will be going on maybe a T-shirt or a hoodie. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But this is.
I haven't seen that one.
You like that one?
Yeah, I like that one.
Let me know if Word Nerd is echoing, because if they are, StreamYard is losing out Rise Above. So
Sounds
this
clear
is
my end.
Sounds clear here as well. This is the whole rabbit collection. There is another collection, and it's called Rise Above All Stars.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, sorry, Word Nerd. Sorry, bro. Echo. Got to kick you out, mate. Right. So this is my artist rendition of Master Lee. If you see, I've put like some of his quotes here. Inner stand. Creator or reactor. What have I got down here? Establish first principle. Do you see that in the bottom left corner? Establish first principle.
Nice.
If you like this, if you would wear this on a hoodie, let me know. Right, guys, I'm really sorry for the echo. We're going to have an in-studio show tonight with none of our guests. Word Nerd and Inner Guardians, I'm really sorry we said this. If the echo happens, we're just not going to have guests in the chat tonight. In-studio only. Right, so you saw this one I drew. The stickers are here. The stickers are right here in the studio. I've got them right here. Rise Above stickers, yeah? These contain the QR code. So when you get these with the T-shirts, or you can get them off me, I don't know how much they are yet, maybe 70p each, something like that. It's got the QR code directly to the website, so we can stick these on the lampposts. We can actually have a little street attack. So I'm just gonna
stick them on your bumpers, all the bumper stickers.
Maybe if we just mute Word Nerd, he can just sit there in the corner. Okay, so yeah, the stickers are here. And I've also given this banner to people that are going to the protest tomorrow. So this is going to be flying. People can scan it, go straight to the website. That's what I'm talking about. This is a sign that someone made for the protest tomorrow.
Fuck the Soviet
How cool
Union.
is that? Fuck the Soviet Union. Big up Kiara, one of our avid viewers. Thanks to everyone tuned in from all over the place: UK, US, Canada, Australia, Europe, South America, and Asia. We have people tuned in from Asia as well. Ramen the writer says he likes the Levi Lance Baphomet. Was that John Levy / Lance Baphomet? Yeah, I called it Rabphomet. Okay, is it time? Yes.
Are we going in?
Yeah, it's time. Let's do it. Yo, welcome to the Soviet Union, everyone. Let's share the screen. You know what's going down. Welcome to the Soviet Union. Human rights, you're losing them. Young minds were abusing them, we're polluting them with toxic pollution. Heavy metals like aluminum, now you're a precursor transhumanism.
There you go.
Our ethics are like no, listen. Our ethics are like eugenics. They're Schwabian and Malthusian. What do you know about that? Yes, it's coming. Right, let me share the screen. What's been going on in the crazy Soviet clown crater?
There's always plenty to report.
There's always plenty to report. And Mark Devlin said he specifically doesn't want to talk about the Soviet Union before.
Yeah,
yes, he doesn't want to talk
yeah.
about the virus. He doesn't want to talk about the glorious cure. We just talk about like.
He said he's sick and tired of it.
He's absolutely sick and tired of it. I don't blame him. Most of us are,
Yep.
but some of us we battle on each and every week. So what's going down? Let's start with this. This is a powerful meme. This is a power meme. This is a proper punch to the
mimetic.
face. This is mimetic magic.
Yeah.
Absolute magic. Now, to the uninitiated, what is happening here? Indiana Jones is doing the famous scene from
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom, replacing the artifact that's on the pressure pad. So the Soviet molecule has been sat there doing its job for over 12 months now. But any second, the switch is going to come.
It's climate
coming.
change.
It's coming. Omar Beats, do you want to switch that camera around and join in the chat? Omar Beats on the sofa. We've got a sofa. We've got a sofa, Mike. You might as well join in the chat, Omar Beats. Come on. Let's keep it moving. So, yeah, a lot of people might not get this, but to me, this is a powerful meme, and everyone knows it's coming. What is it, James O'Queef? He'd already exposed CNN.
Yep, that's
Yep.
correct.
Good old Queef. Right.
This
is
ridiculous.
This is one of the most Soviet things I've ever seen in my life.
British Town Crier Championships to be held in silence due to COVID. I mean, come on.
How can they do that?
Criers will be judged on the quality of a written cry and whether it stays on theme and within a 140 word limit. So it's got the same limit as a tweet.
Ridiculous.
That is ludicrous. Town criers come in all shapes and sizes, but you expect the possession of powerful set of lungs to be the prerequisite.
So, guys...
Not anymore. You don't have to be able to cry
the,
or even live in a town. You can just write something on a bit of paper
For
instead.
any international viewers that we've got, they might not be aware of
what's a town crier,
So
Andy?
in the UK, they basically just go around shouting things with a bell.
Oh yeah, and they do announcements.
Hear ye, yeah, they make
hear
an
ye,
announcement.
hear ye.
They're kind of like old folk festivals and...
Well, back in the day, they would be the news of the town.
Yeah, when
they would
wasn't
tell people in the
newspapers and
town
stuff.
what they needed to know. You didn't have a loudspeaker because it hadn't been invented. You had a town crier.
They were the propaganda voice.
Yeah. Back in the day, I would have probably been employed as a town crier. That's the equivalent of a presenter, an MC, a news reporter, I guess.
So
before television, before radio.
The whole point of why we're featuring this is because their whole ethos is they're a town crier. They shout. And they're loud announcers, and this is held in silence. I mean, you can't get more stupid than this, honestly.
Seriously, stoopy doopy doo. Right, what's next in the crazy Soviet clown world that we all live in now, aka the Soviet Union? I just thought, remember when I spoke about Comrade Yuri Bezmenov?
Oh man, Yuri.
Yuri in the PsyOps episode, right? This is what Yuri said, and let's keep this in mind when we're thinking about what's going on. They are contaminated. He's talking about people that have caved into the Soviets. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their minds. Even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perceptions and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible.
Irreversible?
Yeah, he says it's irreversible.
So, Lance.
He was saying this in 1984, remember?
So... in Mark Passio's work, in his podcast, he talks about it because he's worked directly along with dark occultists.
Yeah.
Right. He says that they have personally told him, some of these people have personally said that he's heard these words come out of their mouth. They've said to him, even if they themselves, who are perpetrating this, came out and willingly, openly told the public what was going on, they still wouldn't believe them. And even if they themselves wanted to reverse the mind control which they put in, they couldn't do it.
What they even for
They
them,
could-
even
they could
even
not do it.
those who cast the spell
Cannot
undo
No,
it.
it's not undoable.
Then we should be doubly happy it didn't work on us.
That's what he says. He
Rise
says
above, baby.
they could not undo it.
Jeez.
That's pretty fucked up.
Well, it looks like Yuri Bezmenov knows what the dark occultist mind magicians know. The Soviet
like
Union,
he says, irreversible.
irreversible. The Soviets were perfecting this for decades, and he spoke about this in 1984, and he was speaking in the past tense in 1984.
Make no mistake, this is perfected.
Oh yeah,
This
he
is
said it's already been
perfected.
perfected. He was talking in the past tense. 40 years ago? 40 years ago. Right. Let's talk about the virus. Let's talk about the virus.
The
everyone.
virus.
Here's the virus. Right. How many people in the UK have been glorious cured? Guess how many? Of all the
33.
numbers in the creator
It's
realm,
gotta
in
be
our
33.
vibrational
What a-
field of energy,
what a
how many?
surprise.
33.
33.
33, guys.
Now, this came out on the 20th, on 4/20. On the same day, guess how many cases of COVID there was in the UK?
33 million.
Yeah? Ready?
Another 33 coronavirus deaths. That's 33 million have been.
Double 33, same day, on 4/20. Word node, I'll get you back in, but I can't be doing with this echo. So it's that magic number. Big up Sasha English, big up Lee Gould. Joe Goodwill, she was in the comment section when I dropped this on Facebook. There was some uninitiated peasants that were like, "You're talking about stupid number." Oh no, not again. Even the people that don't want to believe it
They
now,
have seen
they
it
have.
now,
They cannot.
yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot unsee it. Once you've seen this double number too many times, it's there. Right. Okay. So more on the virus. More on the amazing logic of the virus. I was going to use virus. Britons with first dose of COVID vaccine have become infected with variants. Really? Really?
What a surprise.
Dr. Susan Hopkins has urged people to take caution as the India variant, the scariant, the double mutant, double badass Michael.
Well, India said no to the COVID Union, didn't they?
Yeah. Modi was like, he was a populist. He's like Bolsonaro. He was like Trump. He's like, nah. But
Not
look
having
what
it.
happens. Get punished. So Britons who've received their first dose, they subsequently get a variant. No one could have guessed that. The NHS track and trace chief medical advisor. Wait a minute. This woman is the NHS track and trace chief medical advisor, Dr. Susan Hopkins. And she said this on the BBC. The African and the Kent variant have been people. This is what we said. This is exactly.
Susan Hopkins told the BBC's Andrew Marsh show that both the South African and Kent variant have been identified in people who have had their first dose of vaccine, of glorious cure. Beg your pardon.
Yeah. So, like we said, where are these mad, super dangerous strains coming from? We've talked about terrain theory and germ theory on this program. We've talked about whether viruses are really real. Well, I tell you what, I've always had a bit of a middle ground. I've always thought that a pathogen really probably needs to be injected into your body. There you go. More on the virus. Mutations could render the current COVID vaccines ineffective in less than a year, epidemiologists warn. So not only does the glorious cure create the variants of the virus, the mutations in those variants actually render the glorious cure ineffective.
But wasn't this the point? Say
Hold
that they'd
on.
have to have a whole. Everyone's going to have a whole.
That's a
load
good
of
business
new
model.
Injections.
Here's glorious cure 1A, part A.
I mean,
This will give you virus 1A point B. Here's glorious cure 1A point B part A, and the cycle continues ad
So-
infinitum.
Lance, check this out. So, when is it? When's the line going to be drawn if they say
There is
okay,
no line.
This hasn't worked. You've got to have this vaccine, and then this hasn't worked. So you've got to have that one.
Like
when-
Master Lee said
how
in the
many?
comment section the other day, do you know what's so great? When I go into Facebook and I go into one of those big mainstream posts, like from an artist or from a big page, and so they're going on about the glorious cure or the virus, I go in the comment section, do you know how many people from Rise Above I see? Loads. I know that the algorithm shows me everyone, but I see like Master Lee in there. Master Lee was like, yeah, I want 3 vaccines. I want all 3 vaccines, and I'll wear 3 masks. That was just his comment in the middle of all these people. And then I look, there's like Joe Goodwill in there. There's other Rise Above people. And I'm just like, yeah, we're representing every time. But like, yeah, we could have never have guessed this. That a mutation from a variant that came from the glorious cure renders your glorious cure ineffective. So come on, we already knew this. So this doctor, I've seen her. She's telling the truth quite a lot. Obviously, she's not long for the chopping board. Either she'll lose her career or she'll have a heart attack. SARS-CoV-2 stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, Coronavirus 2. The word severe seems to have been forgotten, while we mass test people with no sign of anything. All very obvious. I think I'm preaching to the choir here a little bit, but I just feel compelled to keep pointing out for our new viewers, for anyone that's tuned in for Rise Above the first time, we like to point out the ludicrous parts of the narrative here. People accuse us of being one-sided. As far as we're concerned, the argument has already been completed. The writing is on the wall. To carry on debating the authenticity of this pandemic is actually an insult to all of our viewers' intelligence, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a complete waste of time.
So it looks like Boris's top advisors have come out and said, listen, I think I might have some research, some hard-hitting, brand-new, groundbreaking research about COVID. What about vitamin D?
What about that?
Do you reckon? Do you reckon that getting more sunshine and not staying at home in a COVID dungeon
might help the situation? I would say so.
Yeah, it's worth a try. So, an Austrian court has ruled that PCR tests are not suitable for COVID diagnosis. But I thought that was the gold standard for COVID diagnosis. Again, we're covering
we've been
ground.
Screaming this for almost a year now.
Yeah, there's nothing new here. There's nothing new. Here's a good one. Australians could be banned from overseas travel even after the whole country finally gets the glorious cure. Why? Why would that be the case? Now we're into the kickback section. Here's people that aren't playing along. Big up FSD for your comment there. Yeah, you know the cure. This is the glorious cure. Vitamin D, HCQ, and zinc.
Yeah.
That's right. Or do you know how you can get HCQ? You drink tonic water.
Yes, drink
tonic water contains quinine. Hydroxychloroquine. It's a quinine. It's the same thing. So there's a millionaire who's offered 1.2 million reward for anyone that can provide an isolated sample of COVID 1984.
1.2 million, yeah, nice.
1.2 million. No takers yet. He said, look, this is a COVID communist virus. Yeah, it is. Right. This one is quite personal for me because I'm still on COVID bail.
Of course you are.
For telling the truth. And look at this. Bristol police admit that protest ban under COVID powers was unlawful. The force apologised and they'll pay damages to arresting 4 protesters at the Colston statue toppling hearing. Colston statue toppling. Wait a minute. These weren't anti-COVID protesters, were they?
These were BLM.
Right, now I know we've got Bristol people watching, and every time I link BLM to what happened with that Colston statue, people get mad at me. Because they say that people in Bristol had a long-standing problem with that statue. The problem is, when it got ripped down, it was painted as BLM. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's what it's been tarnished as.
So, yeah, this is good news on one hand, but is this going to happen to any people that were actually protesting the Soviet Union and not ripping down statues?
That's it.
Because whether or not people in Bristol really genuinely want that statue down, it got thrown in the mix with everything else, didn't it?
They shouldn't be able to pick and choose which protests is lawful and which is unlawful. Protests are protests.
It's not like an anti-COVID protest is the same as any other protest. It's doubly bad. It's just so much worse. So un-English. So, the glorious cure. That means it's working.
Look at this.
I'm not right. I've seen a photo of this guy. Apparently he's 34. His legs make that look like Sesame Street. His legs go bright purple and there's like things growing on his legs.
Wow.
Picture of him in hospital. I wouldn't even show it. It's so disgusting. It's like, it's getting so serious that there are so many stories of people with family members that have got very ill, sadly died, had a stroke, had a heart attack. It's actually morbid to carry on talking about it each week because it's clearly getting worse.
But people are still up for it. They're still queuing up for it. I see him at my local depopulation centre, queuing up.
I feel good. In one way, the worse it gets, the better I feel because I spoke to my mum today and everyone knows the issue I had with my parents after they took the first glorious gift from the stars, the AstraZeneca.
Yeah, so have mine.
Now they've seen or shown, they're like, yeah, we got the text for the second one. I was like, right, well, just don't reply to it. It's like, yeah, we won't reply to it. They're like, no, we're definitely not going to. So I can take some solace in that. The worse things get, people that haven't gone for the double Fauci, yeah, they can stop. What about this one, Andy PG?
Fast forward. This is a dating app, guys. Yeah. So
Vaxi dating
from Mary Claire UK on their Facebook page. So fast forward through the last year of 2020, and the dating world is a whole new landscape. So basically, this is people who have been glorious cured to interact with other glorious cured victims and like-minded. Again, this is like just another divide, surely.
Well,
Like there should be a counter to this. There should be an anti.
no, non-vax.
Yeah,
I think
a
that, yeah.
non-cured.
I would
dating
a
app.
non-GMO.
Sorry, guys in the chat or guys watching, viewers. You know, there's a business opportunity here. Get designing an anti.
Yeah, someone make
cured
the
dating
new
app.
Tinder for anti-Coviets for dissenters. Big up Dan Geach, Bradley Golden, Mark 303, Mila Lee,
all the regulars.
Rachel McCaskill, Graham B,
154
Clara
viewers.
Warren, all of our Peter Reed, all of our regular viewers. Hello, everyone. Oh God, this really pissed people off when I posted this.
seen
Ooh, this really upset people when I posted this.
Well,
Do you know what I said in the post? I said, what are people's thoughts on this? Does anybody deserve a medal for doing their job?
is it all the dancing? It's all the dancing.
I don't know. It looks
it
a little bit
dance
like a
award?
dance medal.
Is it a dance award?
Hey, the people that have been saving people's lives without killing them on ventilators, maybe they deserve a medal. The people that speaking out, they deserve a medal. For all we know, the person that got this medal could be an administrator that's ticking the box of the
Sure.
next dictate that comes down from Sage. For all we know. And you know, I've said to people, they said, you're picking on your quest, you're picking the wrong fight when you're going after healthcare workers. And I said, you know what? I'm not going after anyone in particular. I'm treating everyone the same. No one is beyond reproach. Are they? Is anyone beyond criticism? Is a fireman, is a policeman beyond criticism?
No.
No. You know, yeah, empty hospital. Is that, yeah, Lee Gould says empty hospitals. Is that a medal for empty hospitals? We don't know. We don't know. Hey, there are plenty of healthcare workers listening to the show right now that agree with us quite strongly.
Yeah.
It's not a settled
But they
argument.
won't say anything because they want their little paycheck. And you are just as fucking compliant, every single one of you, if you're just taking a paycheck and staying
Well, let's
quiet.
be real. Is everyone
every
compliant?
single one of you.
Or is it just people that have seen a falsified death report?
Yeah,
people-
yeah, and they're not speaking out. Every one of you is complicit in this. Literally every one of you. And I'll make a blanket statement. Mark my
If you want to blow the
words.
whistle, come on here. Come and tell us what you've seen. My mate Kyle is who was working for the NHS on a load of
we'll
money.
pay for it.
He's going to come
we'll
and spill
pay
the
for you
beans
to
soon.
get here and get back.
Yeah, if you want to come and spill the beans, please come here. We'll Magix, do you want a cipher? Do you want to jump in? No, he's too quiet. Right, what next? Right, now we're getting serious. Force cured, force glorious, glorious force hole. Care home resident held down and vaccinated against their will. That sounds extreme, but it's not a one-off. Look at these pictures. Don't know who sent me these. No idea, but I got them. Someone sent them to me. Los Angeles Police Department, nice spelling of department there, launches Operation Homebound.
There was a few of these going around, wasn't there? So basically, this is
Apparently, these are it says mentally retarded people or disabled people or homeless people against their will were being vaccinated by Los Angeles Police Department, committing crimes against humanity. I'd say if you're grabbing people in the street, look, they're doing it in the street. What is this? What the hell?
this is getting a bit out of hand.
Yeah, that's quite extreme. Where's my mouse gone? Right, I got this from one of our viewers. Big up Ed. He is an international agent of the seas. He works on boats, so he goes everywhere. He was in Malta. He goes, look at this from the Maltese corner of the Soviet Union. People on the beach. He got himself a €100 fine for not wearing a mask on the beach while he was sunbathing. Then he went and sat up here and he took some photos of other people getting accosted by the Soviet forces here on the beach.
Your friend got a fine?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
he got two £100 fines. He said if you're a resident, you get €600 fine for not wearing a mask on the beach.
A mask on the beach.
While you're sunbathing. Some people have got to wear a mask if you go to the sea as well.
This is just unbelievable.
How much more stupid can it get? People think we're crazy because we point this stuff out every week.
Yeah.
How can I end the lockdown, Doctor? Yeah, just grow one of these.
Sorry,
It's quite simple.
sorry. Who's more likely to wear a tinfoil hat now? The people who are complying to wearing a mask over their face while they're sunbathing and swimming in the sea?
Well, it's like
Who's
when
more likely to wear a tinfoil hat?
when I did the Soviet weasel video and I was chasing those weasels down in the street. And I was just shoving a camera in their face, exposing. They go, you.
Sure.
He goes, the greasy one. He goes, you're a tinfoil hat. I said, well, for
Yeah,
starters,
that's right.
you've messed it up. You should say, I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. You got the insult wrong. But I said, I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. I said, mate, you're walking outside and you've got a surgical mask on outside. You're walking around with a piece of paper on your face and you're calling me a tinfoil hat. Come on. So how do we end the lockdown? Just grow one of these. It's very simple. Just grow one of these and just say no. Who said no? Seen this guy? You know about this dude?
No.
The pub landlord in Bath?
Oh, yeah.
Check this
is
out,
brilliant.
people.
That man is not allowed.
Stop playing there. 1 sec. Let me just load it up.
My pub. No, Laura. I'm not going to.
Computer's slowing down. Sorry, guys.
Physically hurt him. That man. Oi! That's assault. I am not bothering you. I am not bothering him. That man is not allowed in my pub. Get out of my pub. Go on. Get out of my pub. Thank you.
That's right.
So this dude is the landlord, and I've got the name of the pub. I'm not going to say it online, but I want to go there and have a pint.
Yeah.
This is what he's saying afterwards. It's Keir Starmer.
Yeah. Come on in here, Mum.
They've been on the front line keeping people alive. So I really don't need lectures from you about this pandemic.
You got one.
Go on in. Can we come in? Is that okay?
See how he was like leaning on healthcare workers. They've been on the front line. I don't need lectures for you. You haven't been on the front line, even if it existed. You weren't there, were you?
No.
What an
So
absolute
is this
mug.
before?
This is afterwards,
This is
after
after.
he's chucked him out. And
What,
I've
they're
seen,
going back in?
I don't know. I've seen another video where this guy, the landlord, he gets out like stats showing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the
I've seen
death
that. He
rate.
was
He
reading
goes,
them up, reading it
this
off,
is the
yeah.
worst pandemic since 2008. He was absolutely killing it. So this dude, let me go to the next one. Get out of my pub. His name's Rod.
Yeah, nice.
Apparently.
I support Rod.
Oh yeah, there it is. It's the Raven. I don't need to hide the name. It's the Raven
Yeah.
in Bath. I reckon we should do a Rise Above trip.
Yeah, let's
book
do it.
a big
I'll
table
get
on a
up there.
Sunday. We'll all go there and I'll interview him. We'll get him on the show. So there's a good Rod at the Raven, and that's a shit Rod. That's the guy that's got Pimlico Plumbers, who he's all about forced vaccination, isn't he?
Yeah,
you know
well,
this
look
dude.
at his eyes.
Yeah, look at the difference between this Rod and this Rod. Dan Geach is saying, that's a good point, is this another psyop like the Chris Whitty liar video? I don't know Dan Geach. That's why I'd like to go and meet this guy and find out. I'd like to go there and then see if I can interview him.
Always good to be critical.
Yeah, no, we've got to ask these
what we
questions.
do here on the
If
show.
it looks too good to be true, maybe it is.
Hell, I'm saying fuck Donald Trump now.
Did you just say there's the microphone on, Magics?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got to put it right to your face though, and I'll just okay. Turn number 3 up. Let us know if you can hear Magics.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just keep it. Just you got to kiss the mic like a beautiful lady, Magics.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah. Just turn him right up because he's quiet. He's a little quiet one. So look at this one. This is quality. You are being controlled. You are being conditioned, to believe that those who stand up for their rights are selfish, irresponsible, extreme, hateful, and lawless. But always remember, freedom is never extreme. Control is extreme. I like this. I like this one. This one made me chuckle as well. Just this week in memes.
How could people allow it to get to that point?
Germany in 1935 to 1945. And he's there.
1933 to 1945.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
1933.
So-
Obviously 33, yeah. So, the Weimar Republic to the Third Reich. How did it get to this point? As I'm saying with a...
Glorious Cure ID.
Yeah. He's got his Pfizer ID there. Classic. Here's a good one. We all know that the double badass super mutant variable mutant variant is coming from India.
Oh,
yeah?
the IMARD, double-R virus.
The double R mutant
variant.
virus.
Yeah, variant.
Look at some of these claims.
India's health system is collapsing as Coviot double mutant variant sweeps country. Gravediggers burn piles of victims to keep up, and crematorium furnaces melt due to round-the-clock
Burning piles of victims.
Furnaces melt.
How does a furnace melt?
Yeah. How
What, are
gonna-
you shoving so much dead bodies in a furnace that you cause it to melt?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
how
pretty
how,
hot.
how hot does a fucking dead body get anyway?
I don't know. But anyway, like...
Well, do you know what? Soon,
Yeah.
because we'll have one of our compadres who's actually in India at the moment. He'll be back into the UK.
Well, funny
very
you
soon.
should say that. You talk about First Mate Pete.
I am talking about
Funny
First
you
Mate
should
Pete.
say that, because as soon as I saw this, what did I do? I got on the blower to First Mate Pete, who's live in India, and he gave us a first-hand report.
Yeah, he sent me loads of videos as well.
Right? These are so he's like, yeah, here's India burning down. This is the first video. I'm looking at the wrong screen.
Yeah, I'm taking the video.
This is Pete on his motorbike taxi. Looks pretty normal to me. So he's in a city there full of like locals, Indians. Yeah, he goes to Goa. This is what's like in Goa. This is all within the last week, yeah? Look at that! Right.
The fact is, it's going on.
It's going on, and do you want to see how Covid is being dealt with by the Indian authorities?
Go on.
Watch this.
सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का पालन करें, समारोह और भीड़ भाड़ से दूर रहें, नाइट कर्फ्यू और सरकारी गाइडलाइन का
Wow. They're really taking it seriously. Some of the other videos Pete sent me were like, all the shops, say like the off license was closed, so Pete wanted to get some beer, and you just go to the back of the shop, and everyone's queued up at the back of the shop just buying things out of a hut.
Yeah, nice.
So they ignored the lockdown even more than us, apparently. So yeah, apparently that's bullshit. Okay, that's the slideshow. Here we go. Right, European Football Super League. Here's what I had to say. Let me get rid of that that thing there so you can see. This is what I said on Facebook. This ruffled a few feathers, as per usual. Imagine a world where grown men with families put up the same fight against the Soviet Union and the Greta Reset as they did against the Football European Super League. Only one of these institutions is going to rob your livelihood, steal your children's future, and euthanize your elderly parents. Abject cowards, each and every one of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Wow. You only got 130 likes and 60 shares, so people must have agreed with me. And there's a picture here of the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum. You've got to watch out for Mark Devlin. He could be here any moment.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Who's just Covietized from the... we've got the Rise Above
the Rise... shit, the Rise Above T-shirts have arrived. Right,
out.
guys. Okay. Let's... What size we got? Who should... Get me an extra large. I'll model one. Right, guys. The Rise Above T-shirts, the brand new rabbit design has arrived. Let's get some graphics up on the screen.
I think it's time. I'm due a new refresh.
Yeah, you are due a new one, Magics. You are due a new one.
So yeah, Lance is just going to model one here. I'm just looking for a small for Magics. But yeah, they're looking good here in the studio. You saying, Lance? Have a dig through Magics, mate. See if you can find yourself a small.
Mate, these T-shirts are dope. Look at the quality of that.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
You know what time it is. Double LMC 2021. The White Rabbit pointing to the Eye of Ra directly within. Right, these are 25 quid. We've got them. What colours have we got?
So
Khaki.
There's white, there's khaki, there's black.
Yeah. Right, there's 25. I think I've sold 3 or 4 already. So there's like 20 of these up for grabs. First come, first serve. Rise Above live stream. You send me an email. I'll send you the PayPal link. Yeah, so we've got black, khaki, and white. Yeah, it looks nice in khaki. Looks nice. Look at that. Hand drawn by me on the tablet. £25. All proceeds go to Rise Above. And believe me, these T-shirts are going to be big in the game. We've got so many designs coming. The whole Rabbit collection, Rise Above All Stars.
Looks good in the black as well. With the
oh,
red.
it does look good in the
red
black.
and
Yeah, look at the quality. Quality of these designs right here. Yeah, take your pick, Madge.
So there's how many you got, Lance?
There's like 20 up for grabs. It's a limited edition. Once the 20 are gone, a new design comes. That's the way we're doing it. We've got to keep it fresh. It's Rise Above. Oma Beats, are you ready to play some tunes? No. Do you want to give me another minute? Right.
So
okay.
is that slideshow done? We're done.
No, I don't think we are, but we've come to 8 o'clock, and it's time for a break. That's just how we do. I want to break it up a little bit. Where do we get to? Oh, no. Right. The Rod Pub.
So, guys, yeah, the Raven Bar. Big up to the pub landlord.
Yeah, big up Rod. And
Bar.
a massive thank you to Mike at BH Clothing that's doing these T-shirts. He supports Rise Above. He gives us a nice price, and they're super duper high quality. They're fitted though. This is extra large. I normally take a large. I'm a bit fat at the moment, but it's still quite tight. Right. Where are we? Right. Just before we go over to Oma Beats, you know the Chinese credit score that I keep talking about? Standing on the bench, shouting about it last year. Stupid Lance was going about Chinese credit score. It's never going to happen. It's only in China. Is it only in China?
That's the goal.
Is it only in China, Michael? Look, what's this? The United Arab Emirates launches a national program for behavioural rewards. FASA. Initiates considered unique in a world as it promotes rewards for positive behaviour. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum with Lieutenant General Sheikh Saif bin Zayed Al Nahyan at the event. And look, here's their little Chinese matrix over here, just like this one. You think the Chinese credit score was bad? Imagine what the Saudi Arabian or the Arab one's like. Imagine. Holy shit. Okay, right. It's time to head over to Oma Beats. Let's have a break. It's Rise Above on a Friday night. Tonight, we are talking occult music industry. Let's have a look at... Oh, yeah, that looks lovely. Show them that black T-shirt again, Magic's. Magic's modelling the black one. Look at this. Look at this quality. Nice. Double LMC 2021. You know what time it is. Hashtag Rise Above. £25 plus postage. We've got black, khaki, and white. Hello, Word Nerd. Last chance not to echo, Word Nerd.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, let's head over to Oma Beats. Take them away, brother.
Invasion! Okay! Let's go! Talk to him! Don't you get tired of hearing niggas say that shit all the time? Why don't you just shut the fuck up and rhyme? Yeah. Used to run around getting my fight in the streets on. Back in the day, before Harlem had a green zone. What good is a good education with no direction? Like the right to vote with no one to vote for in an election. Like a gun with no bullets in the clip for protection. Like the crowd packed in the front without the midsection. Used to live robbing and stealing and being reckless. It took time for my mind to put the ghetto in perspective. I used to live in the back of a holding van. Used to be offbeat like the white girl shoulder dance. I wrote rhymes, acapella, no beat behind bars. Shed blood to make it like the story behind the scars. I used to be a battle champion in the meanwhile. Before some of you little fuckers learn to freestyle. Prematurely see now, underground prima donnas. I was Oliver North during I ran Contra. Cause I never snitched and that's backed by evidence I learned about watching you. Don't ever forget it, bitch, cause everybody knows how the government do. They never snitch on themselves, but they want you to snitch on you. Evolution from Australopithecus. Primitive commercial shit to hardcore lyricists. Your wax is useless. Rappers are dropping like Icarus. Technological revolution. Nigga, picture this. What it was, but this is what it is now. Lyrical bullets packed to the top of the clip now. Treat it like a robbery, I'm shutting this shit down. Fellas, put your hands up and all the women strip down. That's not misogynist, you ostriches, cause I could just apocalypse. Talk politics to the populace, or challenge what the market is. With militant caucuses that'll snatch the spirit of hip-hop out the sarcophagus. This is the curse of Tutankhamun, I bring the drama on. I'm sinful, I eat you, broad daylight on Ramadan. Hip-hop reparations, now we taking back the Lucci. Don't tell me you spent it on coke like Danny Bonaducci. We tired of being on the outside, looking in, wondering what the fuck hip-hop would have been. This is what it is as opposed to what it used to be. And this is your corporate tax ID eulogy. Dominant species, the new breed that won't let you breathe. I'll make you die for what I believe. So we got nothing in common, there ain't no comparison. You got beef with niggas, I got beef with Aryans. White power Nazi, European Americans, rapid poverty pimps and fake vegetarians. The resurrection ripping a ball through the record section. Flight connection to the Chechen border for guerrilla lessons. Fuck a middleman distributor, I got a choice now. This ain't for you, what I got a grown man's voice now. Toured the country 4 times over, I'm older and wiser. Poisonous words who find strychnine in my saliva. What it was, but this is what it is now. 50 caliber bullets, I don't need a clip now. Fuck your private jet, nigga, we shooting this shit down. Bomb Wall Street and make the stock market dip down. I told you what it was, but this is what it is now. You the shit, nigga, I don't care about shit now. I play the role of Abraham, idols get ripped down.
underground. Going out, they can fuck with me.
Speak that real shit.
To smash the airwaves. Going out, now, they can fuck with me. To smash the airwaves. I'm gonna tell you motherfuckers again.
What does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. It's time that I open with a thunder sound. Now look around your own town for the underground. Yo, you rhyming for the TV or a million CDs? You ain't an MC, you ain't underground. You could be platinum or gold, hot or cold, but it's the respect you hold that's underground. When the critics don't get it, that for the streets you spit it. When your lyric they fear it, that's underground. Yo, what does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. Yo, white kids, black kids, skinny kids, fat kids, them Asian cats be underground. Chicanos, Palestinians, Milanos, fuck the Long Ranger, where's Tano? That's underground. Freddie Fox, Black Alicious, Quali, MOP Gangstar, that's underground. Mad Lion, Smith & Wesson, Buckshot, Armageddon, TS, that's underground. What does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. Yo, the teacher returns. I told y'all I went to Cali to learn, and that shit was underground. If the cops be eyeing you, cause survive is what you try to do, yo, I'm with you, you underground. If it's justice you want, and you protest the ice they flaunt, you want skills, that's underground. Yo, it's not about a rugged rapper or an actor, it's about your subject matter, that's underground. Look, what does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. Siobhan Dean from Rough Riders, all the outsiders, Young Z, that's underground. When all your money's spent and you're still hanging on to 50 cent, get it? You underground. When you rep the collective consciousness of hip-hop, not hip-hop, you underground. Yo, it ain't about jewels, bitches, and cars, it's about Nas, that's underground. Yo, what does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. To be underground simply means that you're down for the struggle. Get 'em up, that's underground. You could be a classy lady or a whore, but if you protest the war, for sure you underground. If the government can't see you or deceive you, you love your people, believe you underground. If you refuse to play the game, you go against the grain, you riding the train, you underground. Get it? What does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. That blast from the past, like Grandmaster Caz, Bam and Flash, that's underground. Dougie Fresh, Lord Finesse, KRS. If you're listening to this, you underground. Turn it up now, KRS about to show you how. They go wow, blow for the underground. Mr. Walt, Evil D, KRS, BDP, Kenny P, that's underground. Do it! What does it mean to be underground? It means you gotta be free to be underground. Yo, you got your own key when you're underground. If you're listening to me, yo, you underground. Turn it up.
This is a journey. Journey into sound. Would you join me, please, in welcoming
Redeemer full of culture. Get it.
I got so much trouble on my mind. Refuse to lose. Here's your ticket. Hear the drummer get wicked. The crew to you to push the back the black attack. So I sack and jab and slap the Mac. Now I'm ready to mic it. Hear my favoritism, Rolo. Never be a brother like me, go solo. Laser Anastasia Major. Ways to blaze your brain and train you. The way I'm living, forgiving what I'm giving up. X on the flex, give me now. I don't know about later. As for now, I know how to avoid the paranoid. Man, I've had it up to here. Yeah, I wear, got them going in fear. and jerk, changing some ways. The way back in the better days, raw metaphysically bold, never follow the code. Still drop the load, never question what I am, God knows. Cause it's coming from the heart. What I got, better get some, get on up. Hustler of culture, snake bitten, been spit in the face. But the rhymes keep fitting, respect's been given, how's you living? Now I can't protect a paid off defect. Check the record and record, unintentional wreck. Played off as some intellect, made the call, took the fall, broke the laws. Not my fault that they're falling off. Known as fair and square throughout my years. So I growl at the living foul. Black to the bone, my home is your home. But welcome to the Terror Dome. Terror kicking off an era for delivering pain. My 98 was 87 on the Recchio, so now go Bronco.
Oh, Joe, they out to get us, man. Joe, they out to get us, man. Yo, we gotta go kick boys off.
Crucifixion ain't no fiction. So-called chosen, frozen, apology made to whoever pleases. Still they got me like Jesus. I'd rather sing, bring, think, reminisce about a brother while I'm in sync. Every brother ain't a brother, cause a color just as well could be undercover backstab. Grab the flag from the back of the lab, told the rap, get off the rag. Sad to say I got sold down the river, still some quiver when I deliver. Never to say I never knew or had a clue. Word was heard plus hard on the boulevard. Lies, scandalizing, basing, traits of hate who celebrate with Satan. I rope a dope the evil with righteous bobbing and weaving, and let the good get even. Come on down. But welcome to the Terror Dome. Come on down. Come on down. Yo, B.E. 1990. All that. Holding the race against time, the pit and the pendulum. Check the rhythm and rhymes while I'm bending them. Snakes blowing up the lines of design. Run upon the science of sending them. How to fight the power, cannot run and hide. Well, it shouldn't be suicide. In the game, a fool without the rules. Got a hell of a nerve to just criticize. Every brother ain't a brother, cause a black hand squeezed a Malcolm X the man. The shooting of Huey Newton from the hand of a nigga pulled the trigger. Come on down. Come on down. Would you join me please in welcoming in? It's quick to speak and blame somebody else. Will you destroy yourself? First, nothing worse than the mother's pain of a son slain and busy hurt. Can't wait for the state to decide the fate. So this jam I dedicate. Places with the racist faces. Example one of many places. We in speak, I speak. From a lesson learned in Virginia. I don't smile in a line of fire, I go wild. And but it's all basic drums, even violence. What to do? Get your head ready. Instead of getting physically sweaty. When I get mad, I put it down on the pad. Give you something that you never had. Controlling, fear of high rolling. God bless your soul and keep living. Never allowed, kicking it loud, dropping a bomb, break game, intellectual Vietnam. Move as a team, never move alone. Well, welcome to the Terror Dome.
Yo, look at you now. You ain't wondering this for me. Now look at you. Wow.
I should wear myself a suit and tie.
This ain't living, I guess. This ain't living, I guess. Nah. This ain't living, I guess. Seeing all this civil unrest. Nah. This ain't living, I guess. This ain't living, I guess. Nah. Seeing all this civil unrest. This ain't living, I guess. Nah.
To a man, cause this place is fucked. So the government are trying to turn us racist, huh? They wanna split the whole civilization up. And fat cats wouldn't even split a plate with us. They wanna take tax-free bet and waste our funds. Was the rape, maim and betray our trust. They say the only way to repay haters will love. But these pigs on the street are trying to spray us up. We've been in the wrong place at the wrong time. From the brigades of a cop with no spine. Know what they say, if we aim down the sights and do them the same, the whole world will go blind. So we stay as slaves until the day that we die. Never complain because they keep us in line. Nothing but pain and stress up on my mind. So inclined to fight every time I write a
a grind. Watching the world go by and it's causing me stress, cause it all gets spun by the media, making it easier for fat cats to get greedier and make the poor feel weak like anemia. Police beating ya, then overworked doctors treating ya. But it's always the same in the game. If they blame you if you're broken, it's the government feeding ya. Living by the seaside, and I still see poverty, honesty. Parliament's a mockery, just another comedy. Someone give them all a lobotomy. I'm sick of the oppression in their policies. That's why I'm heartless, cause I gotta be. They can never take my soul, or will play my role to the day quite close. When we free ourselves, it's like claiming the lottery.
It's civic unrest, bit and bun zested. I'm upset with the funds debt, cause everybody be wanting to change face, but they be getting a sniff of success. Humble, but I be coming and stunning something like I'm stone cold in a rumble when I touch sets. Kidding the rhythm, but I be fitting and drilling the women like I be giving them rough sex. Enough said. Fuck the government punching MP. Majority ain't out for me, they're just out for the P's in the seat on the throne. Jack Reed with an MEDC, but some peeps haven't got heat in the hole. Read what your soul, see what you know. Read through the lines, keep it in mind. Everybody's got an agenda that's hidden. So every little prick, men, children and women better stand up.
This ain't living, I guess. This ain't living, I guess. Nah, this ain't living, I guess. Seeing all this civil unrest. Nah, this ain't living, I guess. This ain't living, I guess. Nah, seeing all this civil unrest. This ain't living, I guess. Nah.
Well,
The government don't give a fuck about us.
when we
They don't give a fuck about
realize
us. Why should we give a fuck about them?
Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Go study history. Go study history. Politicians, professors and scientists, controlled by some Rothschild Zionists. Through 2 world wars they've been trying it. Corporate investment, no matter who the finalists. Don't believe me? Go study history. Check the activity of Bloodline dynasty. Sumer, Egypt and Rome. Consistently pan-European imperial misery. World conflicts enact social change, so they want it. But we must abstain, acquiesce and you're in for a world of pain. A workhouse where you dream of a minimum wage. That's the plan, but it's closer than you think. We'd be there now if it wasn't for the cosmic shift. They're panicking, the game is up. It's all illusion, the only truth is love. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? This goes deep cause they rewrote the history books. You can't quote how the real history looks. Empires fried from the lands they took. We're in the same boat, it's kept afloat by crooks. Been the same way for more than 1,000 years. There's no love here, all you're allowed is fear. Break through the clouds so the sky is clear. Satanic whispers hidden in the sounds of prayers. Dark suits, cold hearts, no empathy. Fill positions of power in our embassy. Stone circles and burning effigies. Chanting mantras to bring forth energies. Secret meetings that map out our destinies. Hooded figures, manifest entities. Pollute our minds so we got no memory. For centuries helplessly trapped by the treachery. Don't believe me? Obelisks and illuminated torches. Landmarks of malevolent forces. Sorcerers aim to contain your mind state. Open your eyes where you're already blind, mate. You want the truth, better ask and why. Your worldview got squeezed through a needle's eye, and here's the proof. They extinguish lives. Conflicts built on evil lies, no surprise. We don't know of no agenda. Disguised from the light from the moment you enter. Survival of flight, you're a lifelong member. That's right, since they sliced the placenta. Now, welcome to the slave race. Very few will ever find out how the game's played. Unless you wake up, keep on playing it. They look at me and think, why is he saying it? Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Go study. Don't believe me? Go study history. Go study history.
1, 2, mic check. Yes, Kung Fu, what's happening, peeps? Big up to all of my young ones in here with their fake ID. I've been doing this from before you was born, blood. Trust. I tell you this, star. We've been going for this long to get this far, and we still ain't got nowhere. Believe me, watch. I
don't wanna blow up. Throughout every era I've been here. So far the underground circuit has been fair, the home of hip hop. Can you say you've been there? Home's where the heart is, so hip hop lives right here. We're from UK to you, that might seem rare. I'm stepping up now to make sure we're seen clear. In every council estate we got pure talent. No one don't care because we're seen as a challenge. I suppose we'll never be the balance that you're looking. You wanna dilute the realness and fling a hook in. Most A&R cats I've ever met was all shooking. I'm lost for words if they don't bring a checkbook in. I'm living in a place where you could get your life took in. For half stepping by kids that'll blast weapons. Pull up at the lights, they'll have you out in half seconds. Think you're rough, hang around if your arse reckons. Don't have to look for trouble, trouble it'll find ya. Don't turn around, it'll be right behind ya. Let September the 11th will remind ya. Nobody ain't too major nor minor. If you're brack in the street or in a brand new recliner, grab your dicks and girls, rub your vagina. Pay the pound, I'll provide the punchliner. Might look young, but I'm a real old timer. Been around ever since the days of Boogie Down. You can check my resume, the evidence can be found. Forever been blessing eloquence over sound. Before they had the line off for spinning on the ground. Since then, shit's changed, man, shit goes down. But we're still getting down to the same old sound. It's hip hop, it's good shit for rocking a crowd. Where there ain't no space for mistakes allowed. I feel proud if I'm leaving crowds crying for more. This year I'm really thinking about trying a tour. Is hip hop worth dying for? If your life's on the line and your only crime is being poor, this time around I feel I want more. I wanna see my son's future set secure without having to go out and start breaking the law. I'm sick of being sat in the flat, shut in the drawer. I'm sick of watching every day come and go by, telling Titch and Fat Boy hold your head high. See others come and go, watching their mothers cry, singing why did my boy have to die? Still we'll try, as others might choose to get high, but we must uprise through to get by. It don't take too much to figure out the facts. Who's bringing in all the coke and the crack? This week an 82-year-old got her throat slashed in the flats. Cats are looking cash for their crack, and we're the kids who's left facing the facts. Now used to looking mobile to match their straps as if it's fashion. Everybody's ready for the action, ready for the mashing and fucking it with a passion. Only takes two egos to start clashing. Bullets start flying and the blood will start splashing. Social rage is really climaxing. Every day I see it getting worse by a fraction. Drafts for the weed, but enough of that crack thing. Nobody round here is gonna be relaxing, and this ain't a whites or a blacks thing. As if you're living in the council flats and on a brat thing. They got us on a lab rat thing. And it's funny to me how he's a lead with all adapting. So I'm just gonna keep on rapping. You lot keep your neck snapping, but fuck the hook. What fuck the hook? I said fuck the hook. Kung Fu, fuck the hook. Come on, fuck the hook. Just say fuck the hook. Fuck the hook. Come on, fuck the hook. Fuck the hook. We say fuck the hook. To all them A&Rs, fuck your hooks. To all the bourgeois, fuck your hooks. To all the half, yo, I'm out, what?
Yeah, sending this one out to my man Killer B. No doubt, indeed. Without weed, you know what I'm saying? That old real shit. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. You could run, but you can't hide forever from these streets that we done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook, cause ain't no such things as halfway crooks. They never around when the beef cooks in my part of town. It's similar to Vietnam. Now we all grown up and old and be on the cops' control. They better have the riot gear ready, trying to back me and get rock steady. By the Mac 1 double, I touch you and leave you with not much to go home with. My skin is thick, cause I'll be up in the mix of action. If I'm not at home, puffin' live, relaxing. New York got a nigga depressed, so I wear a slug proof underneath my guest. God bless my soul, before I put my foot down and begin to stroll into the drama I built. And all unfinished beef, you will soon be killed. Put us together, it's like mixing vodka and milk. I'm going out blasting, taking my enemies with me. And if not, they scar so they will never forget me. Lord forgive me, the Hennessy got me not knowing how to act. I'm falling and I can't turn back. Or maybe it's the words from my man Killer Black that I can't say, so it's left an untold fact. Until my death, my goals will stay alive. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive.
Yo, we live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong. I'm trapped in between two worlds.
girls trying to get dough. You know when the dough get low, the jewels go. But never that. As long as fiends smoke crack, I'll be on the block hustling, counting my stacks. No doubt, watching my back and proceed with caution. 5-0 working, no time to get lost in. The system niggas using fake names to get out quick. My brother did it and got back with 2 ounces. I live with one with squads, hit the block hard. That's my man Twin when he got bagged. That fucked me up, God. But shit happens for a reason. You find out who's your true keepers when you're upstate bleeding. You can't find a shorty to troop your bed with you. Hit with a 2 to 4 is difficult. While on the streets, I try to maintain. Tight with my Lucas hoes like to run game. Some niggas like to trick, but I ain't with that trickin' shit. I'm like a Jew, saving those who I could bit with, pushing the Lex. Now I'm set, ready to jet. No matter how much loot I get, I'm staying in the projects forever. Jake's on the blocks, we out clever. And beef, we never separate, grow together. When words come to words, my peoples come first. Try to react and get the motherfucker feelings hurt. My crew's all about blue, fuck looking cute. I'm strictly 10 boots and army certified suits. Puffin' nails, laid back, enjoy the smell. In the bridge, getting down, it ain't hard to tell. You better realize. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. We live in this till the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive.
Break down. Round and round, upside down, living my life underneath the ground. Never heard of and hardly seen a whole lot of talk about the red, black, and green. So dirty, you didn't want to deal with it. So funky, you didn't want to get with it. But that's alright, no problem, cool. Sent to the earth to educate the fool. Waiting around for my shell to crack. After that, you can't hold me back. Looking out for the danger signs. Jungle brothers bringing forth a change in times. Left, right, some ass from which angle? Straight up the middle, reality's the riddle. Sending a message to the old and young. Confused about where I come from. What planet, what channel, what station? Africa from the Zulu nation. Confused on land and no understanding, but I knew not to give what life was demanding. Found a new tab, thought I'd take a grab. Tired of brothers who fiend the backstab. Beating a bigger drum, better days will come. And if they don't come, I get up and make some. First you crawl before you walk. First you think before you talk. I found in life that you wear a hard hat. Protect your mind and bad things will stay back. Vultures flocking around on corners. Snakes slide through our law and order. You slip away and I get older. Leaves hit the ground and it gets colder. My heart pumps faster so I get bolder. I asked my brother to take over my mellow Uncle Sam. Your shade, y'all. The sun comes soon. To plan my day, I look at the sky. I see rain and I still ask why. Broke the airwaves, trying to make waves. Finally came through, became a mondo. Frequencies I kept on fighting. Satellite what I was writing. 3 years later, finally got through. Came through in stereo. So hello everybody and how y'all doing? We're gonna say a few words and keep on stepping. People watching to see what we would do live on air. You heard us say to you. The city's a jungle and we are the brothers. This so-called king of the jungle will run for cover. All of your minds have been set into a trance. So instead of finding out our problems, we are to y'all to dance. Yeah! We want y'all to dance, y'all. That's right. Y'all don't be hanging around. Yo, homeboy, you on the side. Yeah, you lean on that wall. If I want some wallpaper, I go to the store. You gotta get up and dance, homeboy. Yeah, to the ladies. You got to shake it like wiggly wiggly. Turn it on. Come on now. Ah, man. Yeah, the Jungle Brothers be dancing. The Tribe from West be dancing. Latino be dancing. You know I'm the
camera, tragedy, comedy, romance. You better dance when you're fighting stance, so you never have a fighting chance in a rat race where the referee's son started way in advance. But still, you live in the American dream. Silk PJ sheets and down pillows. Who the fuck would wanna wake up? You got it good like hot sex after the breakup. Your 4-car garage is just more space to take up. You even bought your mama new whip, scrapped the jalopy. $1,000 habit, $1 million hobby. You a success story, everybody wanna copy, but few work for it. Most get jerked for it. If you think that you can ignore it, you're ignorant. A fat wallet still never made a man free. They say to eat good, yo, you gotta swallow your pride. But dead that game plan, I'm not satisfied. The poor get worse, the rich get richer. The world gets worse, do you get the picture? The poor gets dead, the rich get depressed. The ugly get mad, the pretty get stressed. The ugly get violent, the pretty get gone. The old get stiff, the young get stepped on. Whoever told you that it was all good lies? So throw your fists up if you're not satisfied. Still stale. And anthrax got my old earth wearing a mask and gloves to get a mail. I know an older guy that lost 12 close peeps on 911. While you kicking up punchlines and puns, man, fuck that shit. This is serious biz. By time Bush is done, you won't know what time it is. If it's wartime or jail time, time for promises, and time to figure out where the enemy is. The same devils that you used to love to hate. They got you so gassed and shook now. You scared to debate. The same ones that traded books for guns, smuggled drugs for funds, and had fun letting off 41. But now it's all about NYPD caps and Pentagon bumper stickers. But yo, you're still a nigga. It ain't right, them cops and them firemen die. That shit is real tragic, but it damn sure ain't magic. It won't make the brutality disappear. It won't pull equality from behind your ear. It won't make a difference in a two-party country if the president cheats to win another 4 years. Now don't get me wrong, there's no place I'd rather be. The grass ain't greener on the other genocide. But tell Huey Freeman, don't forget to cut the lawn and uproot the weeds, cause I'm not satisfied. The poor get worse, the rich get richer. The world gets worse, do you get the picture? The poor gets dead, the rich get depressed. The ugly get mad, the pretty get stressed. The ugly get violent, the pretty gets born. The old get stiff, the young get stepped on. Whoever told you that it was all good lies? So throw your fists up if you're not satisfied. Poison pushers making paper off of pipe dreams. They turn hip-hop to a get-rich-quick scheme. The rich minorities control the government, but they will have you believe we on the same team. So where you stand, huh? What do you stand for? Sit your ass down if you don't know the answer. Serious as cancer. This jam demands your undivided attention, even on the dance floor. Grab the bull by the horns, the bucks by the antlers. Get yours. What are you sweating the next man for? Get down, feel good to this, let it ride. But until we all free, I'll never be satisfied. The poor get worse, the rich get richer. The world gets worse, do you get the picture? The poor gets dead, the rich get depressed. The ugly get mad, the pretty get stressed. The ugly get violent, the pretty gets born. The old get stiff, the young get stepped on. Whoever told you that it was all good lies? So throw your fists up if you're not satisfied. The poor get worse, the rich get richer. The world gets worse, do you get the picture? The poor get dead, the rich get depressed. The ugly get mad, the pretty get stressed. The ugly get violent, the pretty gets born. The old get stiff, the young get stepped on. Whoever told you that it was all good lies? So throw your fists up if you're not satisfied.
Yo, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check. 1 2 1 2. How are you liking the sound of Oma Beats, everyone? How's everyone doing? It's Friday night. It's Rise Above. Did anyone say anything about us having a special guest tonight? You know we've got a special guest, right? It's Friday night. It's Rise Above, and tonight we're talking about the occult music industry, the light and the dark. Let's have the trailer for this week's show before I introduce the man that is DJ Mark Devlin. So good we had to play it twice. Okay, so without any further ado, let's invite our very, very special guest to rise above this week. Someone that I've known for quite a while, probably over 10 years now. Got a lot of respect for this guy. It's Mr. DJ Mark Devlin. Let's add him to the stream. Where's he at? Let's just have the Devlin chat here. Mark, how you doing, man?
Hello, mate. Good to be back.
Let's turn you up nice and loud. Make sure everyone can hear you or turn you down. I think you have to have the mic super close, Mr. Devlin.
Okay. Hello. How's that?
Welcome back to the Rise Above studio.
Good to be back, mate.
How long since you've been here? It's been a little while now.
Well, when was it? About October, maybe?
October, right in the middle of that crazy thing that we're not going to talk about tonight. You've given me strict instructions, right?
Yeah. I need a night off from all
He
that.
needs a night off. Mr. Devlin had given me strict instructions. We're not going to be talking about the C word or the V word or anything like that. Let's get everyone in. How's everyone doing? We've got Andy on the sofa. We've got Emma Beats there. We're very pleased to have Mark in the studio tonight. We're going to be talking about occultism in the music industry. And it's something that really, I'm going to say it, it's put you on the map. Talking about this, Mark Devlin, in my opinion, has put you on the map. I would say you are, in my humble opinion, in the top 3 people in the world talking about occultism in the music industry.
Wow. Well, I'm a humble guy, but I'll take that. And if only I'd been as successful as this when I was a DJ. I was trying all those years, just imagine, to make this kind of impact. And it never happened. And I started doing all this work, and as you say, it really put me on the map. And now everyone's heard of me, and I get stopped in the street, and people's kids are like reciting things I've said in my videos off the back of the work I'm doing now. I never would have imagined it would have turned out this way.
It's absolutely awesome. So the books, Musical Truth, Volume 1 out, Volume 2 out, Volume 3, that's in the works right now?
That's right. I'm writing Volume 3 currently. The saga continues. And this one has a slightly different approach in that I've got a lot of theme chapters similar to what I did in the first 2 volumes. But I ended up with a whole load of miscellaneous stories that didn't really fit into any of the chapters in terms of flowing logically.
Okay.
But it was good information, and I wanted to use it. So I've got the chapters punctuated with new sections, which I'm calling sound bites. And it's a way of me bringing in lots of little stories which people will hopefully find interesting and enlightening. And they just kind of sit there as standalone stories in their own right. And so you have a long theme chapter and then a collection of these short stories to kind of break things up. And that's going to be the rhythm of the
little
book.
bite-sized chunks, anecdotes, different people within the music industry. Going back decades, there are lots of different aspects to this topic, lots of different stories, lots of different avenues of approach. But what we're talking about basically is occultism within the entertainment industry.
That's right.
And occultism, whether it's the light or the dark side, is something that we speak about regularly.
So just on that note, do you remember Master Lee introduced us to, is it the group, I don't know if you've heard of them, Mark, is it a Black Box, Lance?
Yeah, Black Box.
Black Box.
Right on time.
Yeah,
that's right.
The Soulful House group from the late 80s, early 90s.
So, Mark, would I be correct in saying that they would be light occultists?
Well, I've never really studied them to any great degree, but I never really found anything nefarious in their output.
Sure.
Because Inner Guardians we've got a little video from him to play later on. He actually had an insight with members of that group.
Yeah.
He's an occultist. He studied in these groups for a while. We haven't gotten him on the panel tonight because of this terrible echo. He said he actually studied with Black Box. He was at some meetings with those, and they were light occultists.
Wow.
They believed that they were injecting some sort of positive frequency into the commercial music scene. And I tell you what, that isn't really my genre of music, but their tunes, I really like their tunes.
And we all know, Lance said to me, when he said Black Box, I was like, whoa. I was like, that's obviously nefarious.
Yeah.
But then you hear the music, and you said you'll know every one of their tunes.
Yeah.
Got them up on Spotify, literally, whilst we were live on the show. I just put them on, I was like, yes, I know this tune.
Yeah, because we grew up listening to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like all the 90s, in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, back to 89.
Back to
I'm just going to
89,
turn me and Andy PG down because I don't want Mark to be too quiet. Let me just turn that one down.
But yeah, I wonder how many others these days would be, putting out a light occult frequency or vibration as opposed to negative, because there's a lot of negative.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, who are the light occultists nowadays? Who's not on the dark occultist gravy train?
Well, in terms of corporate-owned artists, there's very few, if any. One of the chapters I've got going in the new book, the biggest chapter, in fact, we said we weren't going to talk about the C word, but it's the response, or lack of it, that various prominent musicians have made to the C-word agenda.
Yeah.
And for the most part, most corporate artists signed to the big labels have said absolutely nothing. They've just gone along with
Well,
it.
let's face it. We can single them out. Who has said something?
I remember,
Well, we
Mark,
can.
in one of your latest, rather more passionate videos, you were saying, where is the British bands like the Clash, and where are the
That's right.
where are the hip hop artists? Where are the dingy drum and bass?
Who's the dude
people
out of,
that are supposed to be a little bit edgy and a little bit anti-establishment?
That's
Where
right.
are they? None
Who's
of them
the
are speaking
90s
out.
guy?
Ian Brown.
Ian Brown.
Stone Roses.
Stone Roses.
Yeah, he's had a whole lot to say.
He is
there's
a
few.
champion.
There's
He's a
few
bona fide
that you,
truther.
that you
Yeah.
would not think of.
But there's
that
very
are
few.
speaking out.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Snoop Dogg, apparently last week, of all the people, the last person you would expect to not play the corporate game, Snoop Dogg, you've seen this, haven't you?
Took a vaccine.
No, that was from 2012.
Was that from... Oh,
that
no.
video was from
Well,
2012.
no surprises.
So he was sorry to talk about the glorious cure, the V word. He was putting out. It was about the flu.
He was talking about, I don't want a vaccine. I don't need a flu vaccine. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if he's changed his tune.
Well, more recently than that, in 2016, he was endorsing Hillary Clinton.
Yes,
to
he
be
was.
president.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was all
And he
over
was
it.
saying, the time has come for a woman
And-
president. I respect women.
And he also said he would move to Canada if Donald
Do you
Trump got
remember,
elected.
guys, 2020? Do you remember 2020, what he was stirring it up with the race pot? He
Yeah.
was stirring it up, saying, who were those twins that got dismantled off social media fairly quickly?
What? The
two
Jedwards?
African-American twins.
The mixed race ones that
Yeah,
were really
that's it.
southern and they were like
he
real
was calling
right
them
wing.
crackers, and he was
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
this is the cracker crew.
Oh,
and
that's disgusting.
Yeah. Anyone basically who was pro any race and not,
Check this.
not in the division, he was calling the cracker. and
I
there
was in
only
a
few.
discussion the other day. You know about Zuby? The rapper
Yeah,
Zuby?
he was on my podcast
Yeah,
recently.
Zuby's from Bournemouth, right? I've known him before he blew up by telling the truth.
Hmm.
I was in a comment section with a UK rapper who I would class as a race baiter. I won't mention his name. He called Zuby a fascist. He put a little red flag under Zuby's post and said this.
For
He
what?
said I said, is he a white supremacist as well? He goes, he cozies up to right wing racists and does their work for them. He was basically calling him an Uncle T, which, as you know, is a very derogatory thing to say to a black person who doesn't have the same views as you. And I pointed out to this
Or who
guy.
likes Donald Trump.
Yeah, if you
But
like
I
Donald
think
Trump.
we've all learned that the left and right wing paradigm is a complete fucking load of
Well,
bullshit.
I thought
from the last,
everyone had already worked that out already. But I think
well, we all
think
have
that's
one
a
more.
given, wouldn't
yeah,
we
but
all
the
have a little
even
bit of
the best
hope in
us
Donald Trump.
Might have been swayed to one side of that silly argument. Let us know how the sound is, guys. Is everyone sounding equally good? Look at this. We've got a comment. Zuby is amazing. I agree. I think Zuby is amazing. He consistently tells the
I
truth.
haven't actually ever heard of his any of his music.
The music
Never.
I heard was very commercial. It wasn't conscious. I would actually say it was very family friendly. His rap music,
Like Will Smith's kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
like
He
no
was like a
swearing
UK
and-
Will Smith.
Yeah.
But big up Zuby. We want to get him on the show. I bet he's good to chat to, isn't he?
Yeah, we had a good chat on the podcast.
He holds the world record for the women's deadlifting still, doesn't he? To
For
this
the what?
day? Women's powerlifting. You
Does
know
he?
about this?
No.
He declared him because he's a very strong
He
guy.
did it to
declared
pro- he
himself
did
a
it to
woman,
prove a
and he
point,
broke
did
the
he?
woman's world record on deadlifts. But obviously, he just declared himself a woman. He still holds the
He
world
said he
record.
identifies the women and break the women's deadlift like very easily, and now
That's how he
actually holds the
That's
record
what
for
put
it.
him on the map.
He did it to make a point, yeah.
Right. So,
Turning
musical
agendas on their head.
Musical Truth 3.
Yeah.
Let's start delving into this. You're talking about bite-sized stories about different people in the music industry, and we've got some slides, right? And they're in no particular order, right, Mark? We're just going to use these as conversation
Every
starters.
picture is a story.
Every picture is a story. Who's this dude?
That is Africa
I was
Bambaataa.
about to say, I thought it was African Bambaataa. So he's looking like a cross between one of these Hebrew Israelite characters and a Viking.
Yeah. So, just a little bit of occult symbolism going on there.
Slightly.
And this goes back to a story that I carried in Musical Truth Volume 2, actually, looking into the origins of the hip-hop industry. Because you're entrained to think of three characters in particular as the founding fathers of hip-hop culture. And that would be Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash,
Yeah, Flash.
and Bambaataa.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was coming up in the game as a DJ and meeting all kinds of hip-hop heads, it would always be these three names that would be revered.
The progenitors.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people spoke of Bambaataa in very glowing terms. Even though those party records he put out in the early days weren't really hip-hop at all. They weren't rap music. They were more party,
it's like
dance,
break
kind
beat.
of disco music.
Yeah.
Think of Planet Rock. It's considered a hip-hop classic. but it's not really a rap
Isn't it like
record.
boogaloo, that type of music? Like
Yeah,
electric
it's more like
boogaloo,
electro funk,
Yeah.
isn't it? Anyway, the thing about Bambaataa is that in 2016, two guys that have been involved in the Zulu Nation organization that he founded accused him of having sexually molested them when they were minors.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the amazing thing about this story is that it never really went anywhere. And it came out in the midst of all these other stories we were getting about Harvey Weinstein.
I remember
and
it.
Bill
I remember
Cosby
it coming
and-
out, yeah.
Yeah. And there was the Me Too movement around at that time as well. And you would think that as a prominent progenitor of a whole music genre, he would have got thrown under the bus with all these others that were getting exposed at the time. But for some reason, the mainstream didn't touch the story, and the hip-hop press never really went anywhere with it. And the story just fizzled out, as far as I can make out.
I wonder why.
So a few people were on it. There's a researcher by the name of Layla Wills in Chicago. She's a newspaper journalist. And she made a documentary looking into these allegations. And in the wake of what those two guys said Bambaataa had done to them, a whole bunch of other people that have been involved in the Universal Zulu Nation came forward as well and said it was a best kept secret within the group because Bambaataa was into this type of behaviour.
Are we right in thinking that what he was doing with this Zulu Nation, was it just music, or was he actually involved in this sort of movement of this, you know, the Hebrew Israelite movement? Because he's dressed like them, and I've seen these guys speak, and they are pretty far out there. And I've always thought there's sort of a bit of a cult feeling to this. It's very hierarchical power structured in their organisations. And
Well, the Zulu Nation came out of the gang culture in the Bronx, New York, and it originated out of a gang called the Black Spades, and they were affiliated to the Bronx River organisation.
You wouldn't be allowed to call your gang that anymore. You get taken down.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So the Zulu Nation kind of morphed out of these street gangs, and Bambaataa, at a very young age, he was like 16, and he became head of this gang. And a lot of questions remain about who this guy actually is, because for many years, if you'd looked on Wikipedia, his real name was given as Kevin Donovan. But I think it was Layla Wills did a bit of digging into his background, interviewed a whole load of people in the Bronx that grew up with him, and they told her that his real name is Lance Taylor.
Oh, wow, another Lance.
Yeah, exactly, namesake. So now when you go on Wikipedia, they've changed it, and it tells you his real name is Lance Taylor.
We call that Rise Above, we call that editing the timeline. And through the lot, me and Magix talk about this a lot, don't we? I think we've caught them editing the timeline on a number of different subjects across the plethora of the global.
There's a few. That was Winston Smith's job in 1984.
Yeah.
Editing old news.
Editing old news, but now you don't have to edit old news.
I've been researching a lot of private intelligence companies and private basically psyops for rent, and these private companies based all over the place. There's one in Israel called the Black Cube, which is quite an interesting
Go
name.
figure.
Take the mic out of the thing, Magic.
Harvey Weinstein, when he got done for his problems, he paid Black Cube a lot of money. And they discredited a lot of his witnesses, and they created stories. A lot of these are like
He obviously didn't pay them enough, though, did he?
No, obviously not.
Weinstein couldn't stretch to that
when
bill.
There's a barrage, there's enough. So there's this crazy world of just private psyops and intelligence, and that makes it really interesting.
That's right. But the thing about Bambaataa is, because he's got this hidden side to his nature, and because it was said to be a best kept secret within the genre, what he was into and stuff, and because it's kind of fizzled out and never really went anywhere, it's caused me to question all sorts of things about the origins of hip-hop culture generally, and how this guy came to be a leading light within it.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. All I'd heard was the recent re-emergence of these accusations.
Yeah.
That was it. And it didn't get R. Kelly'd. Nothing happened about it.
That's right. There was a guy called T.C. Islam, who was a
I've
part
heard
of the
of-
Zulu
yeah,
Nation as
T.C.
well.
Islam, yeah.
And he did an interview with Layla Wills for her documentary.
Right.
And he spilt the beans on some of the stuff that went on in Bambaataa's organisation.
Ooh.
Very shortly after that interview, T.C. Islam gets shot dead in the street.
How long ago was that?
This was probably about 3 years ago.
Oh, really? So this was like I call this like this is obviously PC or BC, pre-COVID. That was like clown world time, the 2016, 17, 18 era, when things started to go really weird and all the paedophile accusations came out. So Epstein was 2019, right? Yeah. So the lead up to Epstein. So very interesting. I had no idea that had happened.
Yeah, and the Universal Zulu Nation appears to have been run along the lines of a mind control cult. So it bears all the hallmarks of a cult type organisation.
Okay.
So you get different members of the same family brought into the fold.
Right.
And they would be coerced into only associating with other people within the cult and not having any contact with outside people.
Sounds like Scientology
Exactly.
or any of these extreme Christian or other denomination cults. I've often thought that when I've looked at the Hebrew Israelites, it seems very militant, very, very super structured. Mate, that's a wicked insight. Let's have a look at what we've got next here. Let's put Africa Bambata away. Oh, great. Two of our favourite
this is really random.
Holy
We're going all
Coven
over the
witches.
place. Exactly. Well, the reason I put this story in is because a lot of my research has involved delving into the bloodline families of prominent musicians and celebrities. And when you do that, you discover that none of these people are in the public eye off the back of their talent. They didn't get there through random chance or good luck. They got there because of the families that they come from and who their ancestors were.
Bloodline agents.
Can I just ask you a question there, Mark? So, in respect to the actual bloodlines themselves, are these bloodlines which have always been in the entertainment industry, or just elite bloodlines which so happen need one of their own to be in a position at a certain time, and so they get placed there, regardless of if they're skilled or whatever? I'm aware that you interviewed Beyonce before she was Beyonce, and she was
1998
in Destiny's Child.
Boom,
That's
look
right.
at that.
Yeah.
You were sat next to her and interviewed her in.
That's right. That would never happen again.
No, absolutely. I mean, that was, it's a pretty big thing to. I mean, that was arguably before she was corrupted.
It was. She was a very innocent, sweet girl then. They
Sure.
all were. That's before the
How
industry.
old were you then, Mark?
How old was I? I was late 20s.
Yeah. Great time for you, obviously.
Well, the whole 90s was a great time for me, mate.
Sure.
The 90s were cool.
The whole of the 90s, I just had a ball.
Yeah.
Contrast that with life in 2021. It's not quite the same.
No.
Who would have thought? Anyway, we're not talking about that.
But
that
back to
C-word, are we?
the bloodline. So these.
Yeah. So what you said there is correct in that you have aristocratic bloodlines running throughout history,
But not
and different-
specifically tailored to the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you have different generations of the same family, and they're put to use in prominent positions
Sure.
that influence
They use
society
bastards,
or influence
don't they?
culture.
It's like Game of Thrones. You slide a bastard in with a different name to do your bidding,
right?
Rather than someone that holds your family name. You know. I'm sure you know about the whole Chester Podesta family tree.
Oh,
and when
that
you
was
put
a great
Podesta
dig.
next to Lawrence
Amazing,
Rockefeller,
yeah.
exactly the same. So we could be at a stage where Podesta is a bastard implant of a Rockefeller bloodline, an offshoot. Right, put him there. He's raped someone and created a bastard. Oh well, that's Chester Podesta, and some of these people might not be completely in a state of gnosis about the bloodline that they come from. And
I don't think they are.
I think we see
I don't think
rebellion
they are.
sometimes, like with what happened to Chester Podesta. Apparently, he was linked in with those other people that were making the documentary exposing the child trafficking. They were all doorknob sacrifices. They all hung themselves very shadily.
For me, where it gets really quite kind of twisted is where they're using their children to put saying they're allocating what you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, and it's like if they go against that, they know they're not going to go against that because a lot of them have been subjected to this trauma-based.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. These roles are set aside for these new generations of important bloodlines, and it's decided you're going to be a famous actor, you're going to be a famous musician, you're going to be a politician, and so they get trained up. They go to these academies and these foundations. They get the best possible training. So these musicians become really good and the actors become really convincing because that's their lifetime role that they've been given. And often they're told from young childhoods what they're going to be doing.
Like Mr. Alexander, Lord Potato Head Boris Johnson, he was told he was going to be Prime
Exactly.
Minister.
Yeah, his nanny told the story that when he was a young boy, his family used to say, one day you're going to be British Prime Minister,
that's
because it had already been decided that was going to be the
And
case.
she knew.
Wolfie says that Ellen DeGenerate, I love that, Ellen DeGenerate, is a Rothschild. Does that make Madonna a Rothschild too?
Well, I've never come across any proof that they're Rothschilds, but they're certainly related when it comes to family bloodlines. So Madonna is a cousin of Ellen DeGenerate. She's also a cousin of Celine Dion through her mother of French-Canadian descent.
Have you seen Celine Dion's child clothing range?
Yeah. Oh.
What's it called? It's called like Mono
I
or
know,
something.
how
It's
sick.
like it's proper satanic, proper
Demonic.
transhuman, demonic human agenda. Oh God.
She's also cousins with Lady Gaga.
What?
And
Wait
we've
a
got
minute.
we've got another slide here.
Hold on a
which
minute.
I sent you earlier today.
I think
which takes the bloodline even further.
Let me just make sure before I ruin it for everyone else. Is that the next slide? Yeah, you know it is. You know I put them in the right order, Mark. Come
Well,
on.
there's another one after that.
Oh, is there
actually,
another one
with another
So-
family tree?
Okay, so we're ready for stage 2 of this family tree. So we've got
Exactly.
the
So
high priestess.
So these two are cousins.
First cousins, second cousins.
It's often several times removed. You often find they're 10th, 12th cousins. But either way, they all emanate from the same ancestors if you trace the family tree back
It's sort
far
of the
enough.
same connection you could look between the Saxe-Coburg, Gotha, and like the Bush bloodlines. Because it says here distant cousins via Canadian roots.
Yep.
And then stage 2.
So, yeah, Madonna's also a cousin of Lady Gaga. And we get these
course.
bullshit stories given to us. So,
I guarantee Billie Eilish is related to these two as well.
probably.
Come on
So
to her later.
Madonna, in the intro to her 1985 Like a Virgin tour video, there's a bit of dialogue there where she says, I came to New York, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to make people happy, I didn't know anyone, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to be happy, I worked really hard, and my dream came true. And she makes you believe that she's the classic rags to riches story, and all you got to do is have a dream and follow it and cross your fingers for good luck, make a few connections, work really hard, and you too can be famous. Doesn't work like that. We know the only reason she became famous is because of who her ancestors were. And it's the same thing with Lady Gaga. We were told that she struggled for years and she was poor for ages because she just so wanted to be famous, and she kept working really hard and eventually she broke through. No, it was always on the cards that she was going to be famous as well.
I always saw Gaga as the replacement of Madonna as she was sort of retiring, because you know, for anyone that's
for a
been-
new generation of fans.
Yeah, for a new generation of fans.
I've got a real problem with Lady Gaga,
Really?
with the Marina Abramovic
Turn you
connection.
down a bit, Andy.
She has been fully indoctrinated from a young age from these psychopaths. Particularly, we cover this in the Pizzagate videos, and it's the artwork that they were doing.
That seems like ages
she got
ago we
dumped
made those
in the
Pizzagate
forest.
videos.
She got dumped out in the forest, blindfolded and naked, and had to find her way back to a certain point, all for an artistic
MK
experience.
Ultra got written all over it, isn't it?
Literally.
Sort of trauma-based shock therapy to break you down, to break down your altars.
And
She's a
Abramovich is named as a spiritual advisor
Yes.
to Jay-Z and Kanye West.
Yes.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Have you heard the rumour
And yeah,
that
again,
Abramovich
Mark,
could
there's
actually
a-
be a daughter of Robert Maxwell? Have
Yeah,
you seen
you
the
know, yeah,
family
you
lineup
said
I
you-
showed
I remember
you?
when that
It was
came out.
super
Or a
convincing.
transgendered son.
Yeah,
according to
transgender
some.
son, because Robert Maxwell had a son that died at some point, and it could be like the
So on
transgender sister
Jay-Z,
of Ghislaine.
just as you brought him up there's a picture of Jay-Z and Marina Abramovic, with their kind of grabbing
Do you want me
each
to
other's
get it?
head, almost screaming at each other. It's a very strange picture. I'll see if I can get it up later in the show.
Doing it right
and,
now.
it's a really weird picture of Jay-Z and Marina Abramovic. So yeah, there it is. Look,
Share that.
there it is.
Share that,
Look at that
motherfucker.
weird picture.
Look at this. What? Look at the look
Yeah,
of
look at his
Jay-Z's
face.
Jeez.
It's very, very strange.
See, I've never discovered anything about Jay-Z's bloodline that makes me suspicious.
I heard he was Kanye's handler.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. But I think Jay-Z is an example of a genuine rags to riches artist.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think he was.
Yep.
He was obviously a crack dealer on the streets of Brooklyn and a budding rapper.
Like
And-
Biggie.
Yeah, like Biggie.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of skills, and these skills were noticed. He had this mentor called Jazz O that kind of took
That's
him under his
right,
wing
that's right.
and gave him his moniker Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And I think there would have been spotters from the music industry that were keeping an eye out for fresh new
Yeah,
talent.
of course.
They saw that the young Jay-Z had talent and skills, and they thought this guy could be an asset to us.
Well,
So he was invited into the fold.
I mean, the thing is about these celebrities, Hollywood, it doesn't matter if it's Hollywood or the music industry. If you look just on their social media, you look at how many followers Jay-Z's got, and then you look at how many followers Donald Trump or Joe Biden's got, or any politician. It's way more. They've got way more of a reach than the politicians or people that follow the royal family or anything like that. That's why these celebrities have to be controlled, because they've got such a reach.
That's right.
Well, they're sort of the new aristocracy.
Can I'm sorry to butt in with your kind of slides here. Just on that note, because it's a good time to ask. I wanted to ask you, Mark, what your thoughts on Eminem are, and if he was the story what we're fed about Eminem, trailer park trash, brought up rags to riches. Do you think that is his story, or was he?
Well, I think it probably was, because again, I've not discovered any nefarious bloodline links with Marshall Mathers. And I think the story that we got in the movie 8 Mile is probably reasonably accurate. He was put under the wing of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
So Dre was his mentor and his handler. Yeah. And Dre kind of got him into the dark side of the industry because Eminem's first album, although it was a work
Brilliant
of genius,
album, absolutely brilliant
it was a
album.
work of genius, but it was very dark.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and it was but it was presented in a humorous style.
Slim Shady,
yeah. Amazing piece of work. Like I remember listening to that.
His
on a
first
Sunday
three albums,
bed.
for me, that's it. After his first
for me, it was
three
the
albums.
first two. What the third album with Superman was okay. After that, for me, it
I
felt
only
like
liked the first one myself. But that had Dr. Dre's production all over it.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that people in the mainstream had heard an artist that was getting played on the radio talking about murder, mutilation, and mayhem, and
killing his
rape and
teachers,
killing his baby mother.
setting fire to a prostitute in a trailer park.
Yeah. What is it? There's a skit. With he says Eminem got kind of pulled into the music producer studio or the record label owner and said, "Want to know why Dre's record is so big? He's rapping about big screens, blunts, and
40s
bitches.
and bitches. You're rapping about homosexuals and Vicodin."
Yeah, and it was really funny.
I still never seen a Vicodin tablet. I don't even know what that is.
No, it's just a
Vicodin.
sedative, and it's kind of like a Valium kind of thing. But it was really. He was like, it was a very new concept, because who else did you have at the time? You had Puff Daddy, which was all the. Don't get me wrong, I love Puff Daddy and all of his tunes, but that was very much about
Biggie had
limos,
just gone.
suits, and you what?
Biggie had just gone. by that
Biggie
point.
had just gone, but they were still kind of promoting the suits, limos, lifestyle of cash everywhere.
I heard that Puff Daddy was a predatory rapist.
Wow.
Of men.
Of men.
Yeah.
You've heard that?
Well, Professor Griff tells a story about Puff Daddy's induction into the industry.
Right.
And it was one of these initiation rituals,
Uh-oh.
apparently of the type that is used at Skull and Bones at Yale University.
Yeah.
Involving
I've heard
the
this.
initiate lying naked in a coffin,
And
surrounded by his peers, as he pleasures himself and recounts his sexual history. So
yeah, I've heard this. Isn't there a particular?
I bet everyone wishes they could go to one of these Ivy League
Yeah,
universities.
but there's a particular secret society only for African American men.
The Boule.
The Boule.
Yeah.
The Boule. That's it. And when
And
we were talking
Jay-Z
about,
is,
of course, he would be
said to be
Boule,
part of that.
as Kanye would.
Yeah.
So.
And Dre as well.
Dre, Will Smith,
Puffy.
Puffy, Chris Rock, all of these sort of top level African American.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
It's basically
The Boule. It's like a Freemason for blacks.
Yeah. It's sort of like the Grand Lodge of the Orient. It's not a regular Freemason. It's a particular sect, and I think it's more to do with sort of like.
Are they building with blocks, or are they building with light?
They're mostly people in the entertainment industry and
so
high
they're
level
building with
sportsmen.
blocks.
They're building with blocks, but they're what's the word? It's like alpha. The sororities and the houses. It goes off the Greek secret societies rather than the Scottish or the Yorkshire rite of Freemasonry as we understand it. Right? Am I right or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Boule. The Boule.
The Boule. And you've also got the Nation of Islam.
Right.
And the Nations of Gods and Earths, the 5% Nation.
Yeah, I've heard about that, the 5%ers.
And that's very much tied into Bambata as well, going back to the Universal Zulu Nation. There are links there with the 5%ers, which was a spin-off of the Nation of Islam. And these are also organisations that...
So that's like Louis
African Americans
Farrakhan.
Farrakhan, yeah.
Who
And it was
crazily-
Malcolm X's organisation in the days of Elijah Muhammad, who was head of Nation of Islam at that time.
What are your
And
thoughts on
Muhammad
Louis
Ali
Farrakhan?
joined that organisation as well.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Farrakhan?
Farrakhan speaks a lot of truth.
He does, doesn't he?
He does.
He's a bit like Alex Jones. Like a lot of he says is actually true.
Yeah.
He has his own particular taint on it, which I think might be there or allowed to be there for a reason. That's what I think about.
Yeah, I don't entirely trust him.
No.
But having
Controlled
said
opposition.
That,
Yeah.
Having said that, he's someone that has a great deal of understanding of how the world works and who's really running things.
Yeah, he definitely knows who's in charge of Israel. He's got a very good way of conceptualizing that. I think he's known as the #1 anti-Semite in the world. David Icke's like number 2 or 3.
Used to be Professor Griff as well.
Really?
Well, Professor Griff got tainted with the anti-Semite.
That whole
crush.
anti-Semite label is
anti-termite,
just
anti-Arabic,
ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but
it's just got Alan Dershowitz all over it. That's all he cries.
It's so silly.
Yeah.
It's just so silly. It's just such a misuse of the word. Because if
100% completely
the
incorrect
most
use of the word.
anti-Semitic state on earth is Israel, because it by default it persecutes
People of the
Semites every
Semitic
day.
Jewish religion have nothing but peaceful.
Palestinians are Semites.
Yeah, of course, but they're nothing but peaceful. The true.
It just means you speak Arabic, as far as I know. You have a Semitic tongue. It's nothing to do with being Whoish.
That's right.
Right, back to the slides. Before we get taken down for talking about those forbidden subjects.
Yeah.
It's Rise
So
Above,
can you-
everyone.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, it's Rise Above, it's Friday night. We've got an amazing special guest in this week. It's Mr. Mark Devlin, and we're talking about the occult music industry. So far, Africa Bambaataa, Madonna.
Can you find the other slide with the family tree on? 'Cause it's
Okay,
amazing.
I will keep going.
Keep going.
Family tree. Oh.
No.
No.
Oh, well,
Oh,
okay.
wait a minute. I'll find it. We'll just go back to the studio. There's a family tree. I'll just go back to Facebook and I'll find your slide. Don't worry.
Okay.
So,
yeah, this extended family tree, it takes the Madonna links even further, and this was actually published in the Daily Mail several years ago. So it must be true, right? It probably is. 'cause
what's
it's
the thing
had
called
genealogists.
Burke's Lineage,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they show how all of the presidents are all related.
That's right.
So yeah, just carry on, and I'm just gonna
Yeah,
find
so professional genealogists have evidently done some delving into these bloodlines, and you find that Madonna, one way or another, through cousins several times removed, connects into the Bushes, who in turn are connected to Obama,
Right.
Sotoro, whatever his name is,
Barry Soetoro,
and Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Big
yeah, we
Mickey.
love Big Mike and Barry Soetoro in the
There
show.
we
Oh,
go.
that's
There we
the
go.
one we're looking for.
Yeah, this one's crazy.
So,
So it's got
George.
George.
I'm just going to pull that over.
George Bush in the centre there.
Wow.
And
Mark
one way
Devlin.
or another, I
Look at
mean,
this.
George Bush is related to John Kerry. I think we all knew that. But according to these genealogists, they're related to Hugh Hefner. There's connections into Princess Diana.
Whoa.
Who's connected to
Yeah, that's
Madonna
big.
and Celine Dion. Then there's Camilla Parker Bowles. You go back in time to Marilyn Monroe. Bush is related to Dick Cheney, his own vice president. Bush is also descended from Abraham Lincoln.
I'm just looking at some of the other ones.
Who is connected to Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, Pocahontas.
Pocahontas?
The 8th great-granddaughter married her granddaughter. Pocahontas is connected to George Bush.
I didn't even know Pocahontas was a real person.
Neither did I. I thought it was just a fairy tale. Wow,
Bloody
Pocahontas-
cartoon.
I thought it was, what's her name? Susan Warren. I thought that was Pocahontas.
And then look, Vlad the Impaler. Bloody Count Dracula.
To Lord Sausage Fingers.
Yeah, we did.
Lord Sausage
Lord
Fingers.
Sausage
Prince
Fingers.
Charles is very proud of his
He is.
Dradvacal
He loves
Transylvanian lineage. I often point this out to people, and they call me a stupid conspiracy theorist, Mark. But as we know, that term is pretty much meaningless nowadays. It's actually sort of a term of endearment.
Well, we're COVID deniers now, aren't we?
Well, those people are just reality deniers. Anyway, you said the C word.
I know, but
Put a pound in the swear box, please.
It's 2021,
it's gonna
mate. How can
happen.
you have a conversation without it?
Mark Devlin, put a pound in the swear box. You said the C word. I cannot believe they've got Vlad the Impaler on this family tree and Lord Sausage Fingers isn't here, because he's very proud of being Transylvanian.
And you know, the amazing thing is newspapers report this kind of thing. So we saw they
Yeah.
reported Madonna is cousins with Lady Gaga and is a cousin of Ellen DeGeneres. And they act like it's nothing unusual. Like it's nothing we should be concerned about.
Just by chance.
Yeah, it's pure chance.
Nothing
It's
to
like,
see here. Move along, peasants.
Yeah, isn't it incredible? Genealogists have discovered these two are cousins.
But I've heard it in the mainstream media on numerous occasions. 53 out of 50, how many American presidents? Sorry, 43 out of 44 American presidents are directly related to Charlemagne, Ramesses III, and the UK royal family. I've heard that on.
But it's just a coincidence, and nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing.
Like all our prime ministers go to Eton and Oxbridge.
Yeah.
I want to know what's being taught there, Mark. I remember you said in one of your videos, these guys are obviously taught how to
Avoid
evade
answering
questions.
Yeah. Exactly. Like Hancock
Yeah.
was asked
Who's
something
it-
like 12
Who
times
was it, Mark?
the same question.
I'm really glad I watched an interview you did. I think it was just on your Good Vibrations podcast, actually. The Sheep Farm. Sheep Farm channel. I've been watching it, and they've done some great digging.
Dom and Chris, these two brothers, they do a great
they've
great
done
job
a
with
great
that.
job on digging on the politicians. Old Hancock, your witty.
That's right.
And
Valence, Ferguson.
Cummings. Cummings is featured as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, particularly there's that. Who was it? I can't remember who was the interviewer when he had Boris Johnson on, and he actually said to Boris Johnson, he's like, he reeled off three things. He said, "You're a bit of a nasty piece of work, aren't you?"
That's right. That's what he
And
said
then
to him.
he still slipped his way out of it.
And he accused him of lying.
He did, yes.
He said,
did.
when you're a newspaper journalist, you frequently published provable lies.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
did you do that? And Johnson's
He's-
shuffling
he
nervously
still
in his
slipped
seat.
out
He
of
said,
it, though.
I think we should change the subject
Yeah.
now. Ask me a different question.
I could argue it. Your Boris Johnson impression as well was next level, as well as your. I was really actually in stitches when I heard the game you like to play with your. with your daughters.
Chasing my daughter around the park, pretended to be Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Come and get your vaccine. You've got to get your vaccine.
Brilliant. But yeah,
that makes him scream.
But Boris Johnson, yeah, he kind of admitted that because he got accused of having some involvement in getting someone physically beaten up or
That's
something
right.
like that. And he said,
Darius Guppy, his friend.
he said he claimed that he humoured his friend at the time because he was in a bit of a state. That's how he slipped out of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are trained 100% at these your Etons and your Yale universities to slip right out of questions.
I think
These
it's hardcore
greasy-
compliance training more than anything. Because we asked Inner Guardians about this when we're talking about the trivium, the quadrivium, the 7 liberal arts. I was like,
Sure.
do you reckon they teach that to the elites?
Of course they do.
Well,
Of course they do.
He was more convinced that you'd actually learn that from members of the family or the institution, and more to Eton and these Yale places. They're going to teach you
So
how to
maybe
behave,
they wouldn't give it to
how to
everyone.
interact.
Maybe they wouldn't give that information to
Well,
all
because
of them.
not everyone at those schools is always
No,
going to
no,
end
of
up in the
course not, no.
position. It's a holding pen. It's a selection process at the end of the day.
Yeah. Same
So-
as things like the organisations like the Church of Satan. It's just a vetting.
Oh yeah, massive congratulations on being taken into the pen of Mark Passio.
Yeah.
We are massive fans of Mark Passio. Let's have a little chat about that.
We had a great chat this week.
I haven't heard it yet. I've heard from Andy and the rest of the team who've been avidly listening to you all week that it's an amazing interview. Tell us about how it went down.
Well, before we went on air, I encouraged Mark to be as explicit as he wished to be.
As you do.
And to express himself as candidly as he wanted to. And I was trying to get him to unload the way he does on his regular podcast, his own shows. Because when he goes on with a guest, he tends to observe etiquette and tone it down a bit and be quite polite. And I said, I don't want you to do that. I want you to just pretend you're on your own show and act the way you would if you were expressing yourself that way. So a lot of people were discovering Mark Passio's work for the first time off the back of the interview that I did with him, because they've discovered my work and now they're looking at my guests. I've been looking at Passio's work for many, many years, probably 8 to 10 years now.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm very familiar with his style and with what he talks about. But I can imagine for anyone encountering him for the first time, it can be a little shocking,
Sort
shall
of
we say.
jumping directly in at the deep end rather than dipping your toes, isn't it, when you listen to Mark Passio?
That's right. And he got very angry and very passionate, as befits his name, on this particular show. And I've had a mixed bag of reactions. Most people are very supportive of what he had to say, and they really appreciated the message. Some people didn't like the manner in which it was delivered. They say he was too angry, he was ranting too much.
Did he do his normal pre-apology that he does at the start of.
No, there was no disclaimer.
Oh right, because you know I love Mark Passio's disclaimer, and actually in the Guardian uses a similar one. He's like, "What I'm about to tell you, put your opinions of me aside. Whatever you think of me is irrelevant. Concentrate on the information."
The thing is with Mark Passio, Mark Passio, he really doesn't care about his physical existence. He is purely speaking truth. That's it.
He's
He
not
is
a
an agent of
horizontalist, he's a
truth.
verticalist.
He
He looks
doesn't
to
care
ascend.
about anything physical. He is there to speak the truth. That's it. Plain and simple. He says if it comes down to it, he will give his life for truth. That's it.
I feel the same. And I feel like Mark Passio, with his rage, he literally rages at people because he's been explaining to people about natural law.
Anger's a great tool.
And the way to free your mind from slavery. And when you watch the world unfold, like he has, warning people and putting
I'll
all
tell
the
you
work
why he's
he
so
has.
pissed. I'll tell you why he's so pissed. Is because frequently, every interview he's done in probably the last 5 years, he tells people, go to What on Earth Is Happening, go back to podcast number 1, watch from the start. You'll have a good understanding of what I'm talking about.
And
But
then
yeah,
ask them a
people
stupid
still
question.
don't. They pick out the good podcast that they want to watch for entertainment purposes.
It's not entertainment.
Which really isn't his work. Right? You're not going to understand half of what's going on to a proper degree unless you go back to number 1. I said this to when I was chatting to Mark before Devlin, not Passio, before the show here, before we put him in the show, and I said to him, I went back to the start, and I'm on about 107 now of Mark Passio's podcast, and it really does paint a tapestry for what he's talking about. And I tell you what, everything he's talking about in about 2012, 2013, 2014 is happening right now, and even worse than what he predicted.
We actually have a question on the screen because people in the comment section want to ask Mark some questions. Buddy, he says Pepe Q. Pepe is the question mark. Did Mark ever interview or meet any open occultists? Any interesting off-the-record truth insights, quadrivium relating to his time in the music industry?
Well, it's probably more a question for Mark Passio than me, but in terms of people that I met in the music industry, I did interview a whole load of artists when I was on the radio back in the 90s and the early 2000s. So I did meet Beyonce, as we said. I met the Fugees, I met Khalees, I met Busta Rhymes.
Wow.
I met RZA of Wu-Tang.
Big names.
Massive names.
Some big names. DJ Premier, Warren G, Missy Elliott, quite a few names from that era. In terms of whether any of them were occultists, I really don't know. I certainly didn't know at the time.
Did anyone you ever interviewed give you the heebie-jeebies? Did you ever think, this person didn't seem like a regular human being? David Icke has talked about meeting Ted Heath, seen his eyes glaze over and things like this. Did you ever experience any weird auras from any of these super famous icons that you'd interviewed and met?
To be honest, no, I never felt unsettled. But back at the time that I was interviewing them, I was fast asleep myself. I was a matrix dweller. I was in a mind-controlled trance. You know, in the 90s, I had so much fun in the 90s because I didn't know any of the stuff that I know now.
You were deep within the simulation, enjoying
I was
it.
Oblivious to truth. And as a result, I was having a whole load of fun and love in life, which I don't do anymore because of the things that I know. But I didn't know these things back then, so I didn't know what signs to look out for. And I've gone back since and listened to some of the stuff that I used to play in the 90s. And I've looked at some of the old record sleeves that I used to pull out of the box back in the day. And I see all this symbolism on it now. And I know what it is now. But I didn't know then. And it was right there in plain sight, staring me in the face. But I had no idea what any of it meant.
Yeah. So I've got a question following on from that. Now that you know what you know and all the work you've done into occultism in the music industry, how many of your heroes and sort of idols or whatever, how many times have you sort of had your heart broken? Because I know recently I've had my heart broken
Time
over a
and time
couple.
again.
Time and time again.
And with me, it's not just artists, it's other DJs that I used to look up to. So, you know, Tim Westwood. I used to look up to Tim Westwood. I used to respect him. When he had the Capital Rap Show in the 90s, it was the real deal. That was an incredible radio show. And he was right on top of his game back then.
I used to love Tim Westwood.
Used to. But, you know, look what he's become. He's just become a complete caricature of himself. He's become a complete clown. He's a complete owned asset
Voice
and
box.
stooge of the industry. Yeah.
Voice box.
And other DJs the same way. I used to respect Pete Tong. I used to like listening to Pete Tong
Yeah.
on Radio 1. But Pete Tong took an MBE the other year, you know. So I
funny
lost
enough,
all respect for him from that.
I'm supposed to be in a 3-way interview with Danny Rampling next week.
Oh, really?
Yes, Danny Rampling is anti-Coviot and he's
Danny is
speaking
very
out.
awake.
Yes. Jazz from People's Freedom Alliance, big up Jazz in Birmingham, who actually got us Chris Sky. You know, you've heard of Chris Sky? He came on the show a couple of weeks ago. So thanks for Jazz sorting that out. He's going to get me on with Danny Rampling in the week.
Cool. It was cool. Great. Chris Guy was great.
You know, Danny Rampling introduced me to the Zeitgeist movie.
Holy shit, shut up.
He's the one that put me on.
Is that the thing that got you into all this, the Zeitgeist movie?
Well,
that
yeah,
really
it's very early on. It was 2008.
Me too, mate. Zeitgeist did it for me.
I was in an airport lounge in Riga, Latvia, and I played a dance festival. I'd done the hip hop room, and Danny Rampling was one of the DJs in the house room, and we were both due to get a flight back to London. It was bloody Ryanair back to Stansted, so I was surprised to see Danny flying Ryanair. But we were waiting for this flight.
Cheap ass
and,
promoters, probably.
Yeah, on the way over, the plane had a bird strike in one of the engines, and it had mashed up the engine, so the plane couldn't
no.
take off. So me and Danny Rampling were stranded in Riga for 24 hours before we could get home. So we got chatting, and he gave me his hotel room for the night that he'd had booked, and he went and booked himself a new room, which is very kind
What
of
a
him.
legend.
Yeah, and he started talking to me about Zeitgeist.
Uh-oh.
He said, "Have you heard this? Have you seen this movie?" I said, "No, what is it?" And he said, "Oh, you should check out Zeitgeist." So I did when I got home, and blew my mind, you know.
Yeah.
And Danny Rampling put me onto that. Who would have thought?
Yeah, well, when I put onto Zeitgeist, I went round to a friend of Oma Beats, Johnny, who I don't really see that much anymore, went round, and someone's like, "Have you ever heard of Zeitgeist?" I was like, "No." They put it on, and I watched it there and then. It's like 3 hours long. And it was very shortly after 9/11, I watched that. And so many people, that was their switch to never going back to normie land. Well,
That's right.
you're going to tell me off for saying normie, aren't you?
We can't. We've got to stop saying that word.
He doesn't like normie.
What do we call them?
You just can't. There's that. You can't say them.
We banned sheep.
They're our
'cause
brothers
we
and
found sheep
sisters.
was
They're
too.
the same as us. They're just not. It's different consciousness level. We can't separate. We can't use the words.
But what
to
about
separate.
actual NPCs that don't have a soul? Because
That's a different. That's a completely different.
They're
ball game.
normies. They are
That's a
just
completely
bots.
different ball game.
Because our other team member is not here. He is convinced that NPCs are actually a real thing. There are people that are walking around that are, you know the term non-player character.
Yeah, background characters.
Yeah, background characters. Yeah. Right. So actually,
Fillers.
Lovely little rabbit hole tangent we got into there, guys. That's what Rise Above is all about. How's everyone feeling? We've got almost 190 people tuned in. Is that a record? What's our record?
After you got arrested, we had over 250.
That 1 week after I got arrested by the Soviet Union. Right, back to these.
Can't speak at a protest, guys.
No, you can't tell the truth. It's illegal. £10,000 fine.
Speaking of which, I'd like to take this opportunity to say big up to anyone who's attending the protest tomorrow. in
Yeah,
London.
yeah.
It's going to be a big day.
It's going to be a big day. I tell you what. Let's have a little chat about that.
Berlin style, hopefully.
Yeah. We had, I interviewed someone who grew up on the wrong side of the Berlin Wall, Jay. I actually saw Jay yesterday.
That's a great interview.
Jay's wicked. He wants to come back on the show.
Yeah,
he wants to
honestly.
talk about, he's 54 years old. He grew up in Soviet East Germany on the wrong side
He was
of the Berlin Wall.
24, I think, when he said when the Berlin
Yeah,
Wall
he was
came
actually
down.
trying to escape East Germany the day the Berlin Wall came down. It happened to come down.
Wow.
And I said, "What do you think of the Soviet Union?" I said, "Do you think that's a fitting metaphor? This term that we've coined here."
yes.
He said, "Do you know what? It is an insult to the Soviet Union to associate what's going on now or what's going to happen." He was like, "It was a great interview." Yeah, Jay will be coming back, guys. We're going to have a follow up of that one.
Really good. Yeah, really
so,
good.
protesting tomorrow. Everyone that's going, I would say one thing: don't fall into traps of being agitated by
Keep
people.
it small
Keep it
until
small.
the time is right.
Keep
Yep.
it sensible.
Keeping those bubbles.
Yeah, keeping those bubbles. Follow the protocols. And
We'll
wait-
just say the disclaimer, we're not inciting anything here on the show
no,
this evening.
I would never conspire to incite other people to break the Soviet regulations, and I certainly wouldn't want to do that because that inflicts a £10,000 fine, apparently, for about 5 minutes. We'll see how that goes. So, yeah, be good tomorrow, everyone, and don't fall into traps of agents provocateurs and agitators. Right.
That's right.
Inbred satanic whores. Next slide. Sorry. Who is Ireland's Barbara Hewson? What's this about?
Oh, so we're back now to Bloodlines, and
Okay.
I did a bit of digging into Bono. I'm sure we're all big fans
Oh,
of
yeah,
Bono.
Bono,
I'm
yeah.
sure we all respect his philanthropic work that he does with the United Nations and the
Philanthropic.
Gates Foundation.
What do we call him? The Soviet Entertainment Czar.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Chancellor Bono. Right.
Yeah. So there was a very controversial Irish barrister by the name of Barbara Hewson. And she was controversial for campaigning for the age of consent for adults to have sex with children to be lowered to 13.
Yeah.
And she was also a pro-abortionist and was controversial for
she
that.
Another moral
was she
individual.
In my slideshow the other week about cultural
She
Marxism.
was, yeah,
It
she
was
was,
her,
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
she was in there.
Was it?
Yeah, I identified these people that
we
were
did
like pushing
a
queer
show,
theory.
Yeah. We did a show on.
Well, psyops.
Yeah, it was psyops. Yeah,
And
there
I
was,
did,
we had
the cultural
BLM in
Marxist
there,
psyop.
and she was featured in there. Yeah.
Well, she
sure.
died in January, actually. She died of an illness, aged 50-something in January. But anyway, Barbara Hewson turns out to be a cousin of Paul Hewson, Paul David Hewson, which is the real name of Bono. So it's a good example of one branch of that family being put in as a barrister.
Sure.
And then another branch of that family being put in
the
as a
entertainment-
prominent
yeah,
musician.
yeah.
Although in his case, I think he was made famous as a musician so that later in his career he could step into his real work.
Sure.
And it's the same thing with Bob Geldof.
Gain the publicity.
So Bob Geldof was always earmarked to head up the Live Aid and Band Aid projects. He was always going to be that kind of operative for the agenda. But he had to become famous first. So people had to know who he was. So he was put into the Boomtown Rats. He was a bloody awful singer. But he had to become famous as the singer with that band so that when the time came for Band Aid, everyone knew who he was.
Yeah, sure.
And the same thing with Bono. So Bono's now best mates with Bill Gates and Bill Clinton
he
and
is,
the Pope
cozied
and
up to them,
Obama
yeah.
and Bush and all these people, hanging out with all of them. Because that's his real work, pushing agendas, social engineering, changing society, representing
all by design.
big pharma, big agriculture, big all these big businesses.
They're all hitmen to varying different degrees. Like people say, like, "Oh, why'd you go after George Soros and Bill Gates?" Because they're hitmen. One of them is a biological hitman. The other man is a cultural revolutionary hitman. And these lesser agents, like Bono, I would say he is.
He's a bagman, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
I've
not a
been
capo.
watching,
He's a top foot soldier with an army of little celebrities below him pushing the Greta reset agenda. Go on.
I've been watching a couple of your videos with about Jim Morrison.
Oh, yeah.
With his history.
And his dad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, his old man.
Similar sort of thing.
The
from
Admiral.
Mentor.
US
the Gulf of
military.
Tonkin.
Yeah, all of those sort of that generation, and they were one generation away from being US military intelligence, pretty much. All the ones that are pushing the acid, the flower power.
Yep.
Yep.
And we still get that now.
Psyop after psyop after psyop.
Yep.
Who's this?
So this is a group called The Coup, little known hip hop act. They had this album out in June 2001 called Party Music. And you'll note that the sleeve depicts the events of 9/11 in New York, except this was 3 months before it actually happened.
Wow.
No.
So you had that image in June depicting events which would happen in September. And if you look there, the front man of the group, Boots Riley, is pressing a kind of remote detonator and setting off the explosions.
So,
Is that like a car stereo?
It's a detonator.
Were
of some
these
sort.
people not pulled up on this after 9/11?
Yeah, this group and their record label were questioned about it, and they said, "Oh, it's just a coincidence.
Come on.
It's in poor taste." And so they changed the sleeve design, and they put out a new version of it with a cocktail glass with a cherry on top. Party music. That was the innocent version of the cover. But this was an example of predictive programming,
Yes, for
which is
sure.
getting people
100%.
subliminally prepared for what is known to be coming. And they do it through movies, they do it through TV shows, they do it through live events like the Grammys and the Super Bowl show and all this, and they do it through record sleeves. One way or another, most people in society will have seen some example.
An image, some imagery or
some
something.
image related to
Yeah.
what is known to be coming.
Sure.
And with the current agenda that we're all living through, I'm going into some of the examples of predictive programming there, and they go into the hundreds, trust me.
Yeah,
It's never ending.
It's almost like a living meme.
Well, I
now,
mean,
how many times this has been
for
imprinted?
what's going on currently, the biggest one for me, the very biggest one was the 2012 Olympics opening with those dancing nurses, and I mean, what?
Yeah, NHS hospital beds.
So, like, right, I want to know, right, who is the organizer of that?
Boris in the hospital bed.
Who,
You seen that? Yeah.
who organised that particular part?
Well,
of
the
show?
director was
I
Danny
wanna know.
Boyle.
Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle that did Trainspotting.
Right,
Yeah,
I mean, why is this not
But
pulled
it's
up.
not
where
just that. In the other parts, it went on for a couple of hours. The part at the start when there's like the green fields and the people dancing and the cows and the sheep.
I can't believe
all
these
of
people
that
are
is
being
from
so
biblical.
out in the open. Like, I know these people.
The whole thing
operate
was
in
an
the
occult
open,
ritual.
but so
Absolutely.
blatantly.
Yeah, Russell Brand as the child catcher. Go figure.
I'm glad you just said Russell Brand because one of our regular viewers said, "Please, can you bring up?" Where is it?
See,
yeah,
what-
please bring up Russell Brand. What is going on with Russell Brand at the moment? He's been making videos about the Great Reset.
Yeah,
He's been
about
talking
Bill
about
Gates.
Klaus Schwab.
Yeah. Still don't trust him though.
No, I don't trust him.
I don't.
Still don't trust him. Controlled
He
opposition.
didn't. I heard he flashed an obey sign at Katy Perry.
He used to go out with a Rothschild. He went out with a Rothschild.
Who was it? A goldsmith, I think.
Yeah.
What go into
Jemima
that, Mark?
Goldsmith.
What do you know about that? When he flashed the obey
Yeah,
sign?
well, he was Katy Perry's handler
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So they often put these people together as a couple.
As a relationship.
And I think when you get
inverted
like
commas.
Jay-Z and Beyonce, for
Sure.
example, I personally don't believe that was a romantic relationship that blossomed the way these things do. They were put together. Number one R&B singer, number one rapper, make them a
Jay-Z's
couple.
punching just a little bit.
Yeah, and he certainly is, yeah. And when it comes to Katy Perry and Russell Brand, they were together for a time as husband and wife, although reportedly they spent no time together. They were often in separate countries. But when they were together, he was fulfilling the role of a mind control handler. And he was flashing up that obey pendant, as you say. And at that particular time, her mood and her demeanour changed instantly because she'd been triggered. This was a mind control trigger. So I can't trust Russell Brand. I know he's putting out shows now that appear to be giving us truth.
Correct.
And he appears to be exposing Klaus Schwab and all this.
Yeah.
But that's what controlled ops do, isn't it?
I think he is a purple pill merchant. He is a purple pill merchant. He's for people that don't want to quite really grasp the full enormity of what's going on. Oh yeah, but I'll think about the Great Reset and I'll consider its implications. I'll ponder over a Russell Brand video.
The respectable face of truth/conspiracy issues.
But he's sitting on the fence to such a degree on the... We all know what it is. But yeah, whoever sent it to me, I can't remember earlier on, bring up Russell Brand. That's what we think he's... I would say, I'd call him
Well,
a
I don't
purple-
trust him.
I don't trust him either. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, to be honest.
Ex-BBC,
He's on the BBC. Yeah, no.
I mean, look at some of Katy Perry's music videos.
Yeah.
Look at
Well, it's full
those.
of pizza imagery,
Yeah,
isn't it?
massively. And the,
Pizza bloody
just,
everywhere.
yeah, cannibalism and there's Egyptian...
Spirit cooking, yeah.
It's Egyptian symbology.
Definitely Abramovichian.
Yeah,
She's
very
right there in
much.
that circle, isn't
Very
she,
much.
Katy Perry?
And wasn't she originally a like a choir girl?
Christian
or,
singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine Hudson,
Yeah.
her real name.
And she got
And she did an interview where she said she wanted to be a Christian performer.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. So she sold her soul to the devil.
Yes.
And she made it sound like a joke, but no,
We
she
know
actually
that's-
did.
Yeah, that's it.
In a sec, we've got a 6-minute video from Inner Guardians talking about light occultism in the music industry.
Yeah.
Should we take a little break and we'll come back with Mark? in about
Quickly
5
on the
minutes?
note of selling your soul. So, what do you think of Liam Gallagher?
I don't entirely trust him either.
No.
He's said
Because he
some-
sold his soul originally.
Yeah. Well, there's
Originally.
pictures. There's pictures of Liam flashing up the old devil horns.
Yes, there is,
There's
yeah.
pictures of Liam sat next to Jimmy Savile.
There's old pictures.
Old pictures.
So, I mean, but he's talking anti-Coviet now.
He is, and I would like to think he's sincere.
Yeah.
I do wonder if many of these artists reach a point where they're no longer considered assets and they're allowed a little bit of freedom to
Yeah.
speak their mind.
However, I'm wondering if, because you didn't hear anything really from the two brothers, for a long time, did we? Maybe they ran out of money and they needed a paycheck. So
Yeah,
if
there's
they're
always
now
that.
controlled opposition, I wonder how many of these artists that we all know and love from the 90s, early 2000s
Right said Fred.
are running. Yeah, right said Fred. But I wonder how much money they've got in their bank accounts these days. I wonder how much they would succumb to an offer, whether it be controlled opposition or, to push
Well,
some
yeah,
other
we can
agenda.
only speculate on that,
Yeah,
can't we?
Yeah, that's it. But, it appears that they are speaking some truth.
Yeah, we appear to have Inner Guardians from a secret location. Say hello to the stream and hopefully we don't have that annoying echo. Inner Guardians? All right, he's still mucking around with his mic. Right, I reckon we'll take a little 5-minute break and
Yep,
we'll
we
actually
can do
have
that.
Inner Guardian's video, right? He's prepared a little video for us at 6 minutes long talking about light occultism in the music industry. We're just going to have a little drink and a toilet break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes with the one they call Mr. Mark Devlin. Hold tight, it's Rise Above.
Hello, this is Lee from the Inner Guardians. I'm going to play a very short clip which was taken from an off-grid chat about the subject of the occult and the music industry, of which I was a part of in the 90s when I worked in close protection, and also being involved with the esoteric groups at that time. This will give you something for the mentation to consider. Please enjoy. Throughout the 90s, I worked very closely with a particular occult group which consisted mainly of musicians, artists, producers. And I got to see firsthand how the lighter cultists could actually inject the truth into music and entertainment. Now, they're up against the dark occultists who will use the very same medium of music. And remember, music is based on the law of octaves, and music is a very important part of the quadrivium, which is the external landscape for the direct realism and truth. So the dark occultists will endeavor to hijack these mediums to implant their distorted dystopian modifications. On the opposing side, you've got the light occultists that will actually manufacture and create music with hidden coded messages in that act as clues and reminders to those that are seeking ascension. So if I give a very brief explanation as to how this works or how this plays out. So you've got the x-axis or the X line, which is the horizontal line. So this is where the dark occultists will dominate. That's the line that they operate on. And then you've got the y-axis, which is the ascending or the ascension line. But you've also got the z-axis, which is the gateway. It's where the two lines meet. Now this is where the transcending occultist will operate from. So the X line, or the horizontal line, is the wide path. The Y line is the narrow gate. And the Z axis, or Z line, is the junction of the X and the Y, running diagonally, which is the narrow path to escape the 3D realm. Now we're locked into this game. Now some will argue and say that we're forced here in some type of slave vessel. Others will say that we volunteer to come here because this is the best way to develop and to format the soul. So when we come here, we enter like a recycling wheel of reincarnation on the X line or the horizontal line. So reincarnation exists on the horizontal line. It's not until we meet the Y line or Y axis or the vertical line that we then go into what's known as eternal recurrence. So if you look at this as like a university or a school of education, but it's a particular school and university for the development of a soul. So we enter the horizontal line in spirit and with essence. And as we recycle, we reincarnate, the spirit actually moves through into another life. But at this point, there isn't necessarily a soul. Now this is partly disinfo that has been given to us through education, through the religious channel. So we come here with spirit, which is breath. So if it breathes, then it has a spirit, which means that the spirit can feed the essence. The essence can then crystallize into a soul with the correct work and the correct knowledge. And this is where the game plays out. So it's a case of the dark occultists will hide the truth and the knowledge, and the light occultists will leave clues. Remember, it's a game, so they'll leave clues for ascension. But you need to be aware, you need to be relatively awake and have enough focus and intent to be able to identify and pick up on these clues. Now, because music is part of the quadrivium, so it's part of the external landscape along with other factors like mathematics, geometry and cosmology. So this is what the construct of the matrix consists of, and this is the material that we have to work with. Now, in order to develop a soul, we need to feed it, and to feed it you need to have the correct type of nourishment and food. With regards to food, people think that food and energy is just from what you physically eat, like the matter that we physically eat, when in actual fact there's different types of food that are very important for consumption, especially for developing a soul. So the first type of food is matter or material food, which will be your vegetables and
Yo, wise words from Inner Guardians. He's so deep. The guy is so deep. Right, I'm just going to chat to you guys for a minute. They're all chilling in the green room. What an amazing guest Mark Devlin is. Lovely to have him along. So, while I'm just interacting directly with the Rise Above family, let me see if I get spoken word nerd. And StreamYard, I hope you're watching, because we're saying bye to you lot if word nerd is echoing right now. Word nerd, you got the same settings as that amazing sound check that we did the other day. Do you remember how good it sounded in that sound check?
Yeah, should do.
Yeah. Chill out, Andy PG. I'm just going to chat to everyone about T-shirts for a minute, because people need to get their Rise Above T-shirts right now, baby. Let's get rid of some of these extra cameras we just don't need. Can you hear Word Nerd's got no echo? Welcome to the stream,
No
Word
shit.
Nerd. How you doing, mate?
Whoa, echo free.
Right, Word
Echo
Nerd,
free.
get everything you've got to say for the whole 5-hour stream in now.
Take a seat over here, mate.
I've got a 3.5 word poem.
Go on, do it.
Paul McCartney isn't.
Paul McCartney isn't. That's your 3-word poem.
That's it. That's it.
I think
That's
is
it.
that a
That's
little?
fine.
Is that a segue for what you want, Mr. Mark Devlin to talk about in a minute? We can't have Mark Devlin along and not talk about foul McCartney, or Fool McCartney as he calls him. So anyway, a little bit of merchandise talk. This is Rise Above, and in case you didn't know, we sell T-shirts. Not because we're dirty capitalists, it's because people really love our sick T-shirts, and they begged me to start selling them.
Plus, I need a new chair, guys, in studio.
Yeah, right. You know, we've got a crucible here. We've got a sacrificial altar for the rhythm and selection over here. We need to buy Andy PG a new chair, or me a new chair. Andy PG.
Yeah, I get the hand-me-down.
He gets hand-me-down. So these Rise Above Live T-shirts are back in stock. We've got a brand new colour, which is grey, which is not shown here. They're £20 plus postage, and they're super good quality. And remember, we've got the new design as well. The one that I'm sporting right now, it is my signature collection, the whole rabbit. Not the rabbit hole.
What time is it?
What time is it? You know what time it is. It's Rise Above time. Yeah, these ones are £25.
It's raw time.
It's raw time. Inner Guardians, would you care to try not to echo? It'd be great. It'd be great, because I don't want to have to just finish my StreamYard forever. So yeah, guys, buy a Rise Above T-shirt, support the cause. All the profits go back into upgrading the studio. So each and every week, we have got a bigger table to feast upon the whole rabbit. The rabbit, the whole rabbit, and nothing but the rabbit. And there's new designs coming soon in the whole rabbit collection and the Rise Above All-Stars. If you would actually wear a hoodie with a sick Master Lee illustration on the
Sensei.
back.
What does it say? Bottom left, Lance? Apply first principles.
Apply first principles. In the bottom right, it says creator or reactor. I took some of my favourite Master Lee quotes. It's a Rise Above original in a stand. Inner Guardians 2021.
Don't understand. We
Don't
inner
understand.
stand.
Don't overstand. Inner stand. So yeah, this is some of the merch that's coming soon. Yeah, don't forget we've got stickers, Rise Above stickers
With the QR code on the other ones
this
as
is
well,
for,
guys.
This is for putting on lampposts. It
So
sends
don't forget,
people-
guys, when you get a T-shirt as well, you get a sticker. Don't forget
You get two stickers.
You get
the
two
Ho-
stickers.
Yeah, you get the Holy Baphomet sticker and you get the QR.
Don't forget,
QR
guys,
code.
put the one with the QR code somewhere where people are going to see
We
it.
are
yeah?
going to use their Chinese communist technology against them. We'll use the QR code against them. People go, wow, what's that QR code? They'll
Just quickly scan it. Takes them straight to Rise Above
direct-
News, where it's got all
directly
sorts.
to Red Pill Armageddon.
All
anti-PG.
sorts there.
There'll be more
From
merchandise.
Antarctica to the occult music industry to Pizzagate, everything's up there.
So how do you get this sick merchandise, Andy PD? We go to the Rise Above livestream at gmail.com. Regular t-shirts, £20, and the whole rabbit signature edition. They're 25. Do you know why? Because I drew it by hand. I drew that myself. We've got Mark Devlin in the studio. Mark, do you want to keep it casual and chill over there with the mic, or do you want to come back over here in the spotlight? Pull that out of the stand. And
whichever works.
Yeah, whichever works. Let's get Mark Devlin back.
What are
in
you
the
comfortable
chat.
with, Mark?
But it's going to say Mark Devlin under you, if that's all right, Andy PG. So Mark Devlin's on the Rise Above sofa.
So what's with all the rabbits?
Well, the concept which we came up with was every week we sort of do different subjects on here, and we call
We always cover the Soviet Union first.
You know,
That's what we always cover every week first. Like, we put a slideshow together, and then we do a kind of themed show each week. Obviously, you're our theme. You're our guest this week. Mark talking about the occult music industry, but I mean, we've done what Antarctica. We did Bill Gates, the big pharma and vegan
so the idea is,
movement.
Rather than
exposed.
getting stuck down one rabbit hole, I had the concept of presenting the whole rabbit, like the entire rabbit.
Yeah.
So I started doing some designs based around rabbits.
You know, my daughters wouldn't go much on the picture of the guy holding the white rabbits there because we got 2 pet white rabbits for him just before Christmas.
I actually
and imagine the rumours that's going to start now.
Maybe this one is better for the
Mark
kids.
Devlin said he's got 2 white rabbits. He's telling you.
He's got a double white rabbit. I reckon this one's better for the kids, personally. So yeah, right. And anyway, enough of my silly T-shirt designs. We've got Mark Devlin in the studio. Let me turn the lights up so we can see Mark over there a little bit better. We've been asked to talk about Brian Harvey. Have you been following the Brian Harvey story, Mark?
He's 17.
I have, yeah.
What are your thoughts about what's going on there, mate?
Well, Brian Harvey seems to be sincere and genuine to me. He seems to be someone that is genuinely in fear of his life for things that he's discovered. The only problem is, in the videos that he's been putting out, he's quite incoherent about everything, and he goes off at
It's all very
tangents.
hazy.
He rambles, and it's very difficult to keep a track on what he's trying to communicate. He's never actually come out and openly said what it is he's discovered, although he's very strongly hinted that he's seen evidence of pedophilia and child sex trafficking within the music industry. He certainly called out his old manager of East 17, Tom Watkins, who died last year. He was also the manager of the Pet Shop Boys and Bros. And he's had a few things to say about Tom Watkins.
I have wondered if the whole child trafficking, pedophilia, Pizzagate, all of that stuff that's come out like very recently, like in 2020, all the Save Our Children, because everyone's been, the truth movement in inverted commas have been researching that since it came out. But I mean, for the vast majority, people found that out in 2020. I wonder if this is just a controlled opposition. Another, you've got Brian Harvey and people talking about it, and it's just so out in the open now. Or maybe it's along with the agenda to try and normalise it all.
Like a ruse.
Yeah, like a ruse, yeah. Or, like we've got movies like
Turn my mic off, sorry.
Netflix movies like Cuties coming out, or is it just another move to just normalise the whole...
There could be aspects of that going on, but I do think with Brian Harvey that
he's talking the truth.
Yeah. I mean, he went out in the alley and smashed up that gold plaque that he got for East 17's album and said, this is what the music industry means to me. Fuck your music industry.
That's probably all he had left in the E17 days. I doubt he's got any of the money. If he earned much at all.
Probably not. But, he's got mental health issues. He's been sectioned a few times. He's living off
God
benefits.
knows what he's been given, yeah.
Yeah. And he tells this story of being taken into a secret room behind the manager's office in a West End nightclub by Daniela Westbrook, who he was going out with in the 90s. They were an item. and she took him to this club, and there was a secret wall, and they went behind this wall, and he says there were a couple of kids that were sat with adults, and there was all kinds of
shenanigans
stuff going on. And he said his mind keeps going back to the image of this young girl that's being seduced by this man in this secret room behind a bloody door, you know.
See, I heard that people were trying to implant memories in his head because he was mentally unstable. I heard people were trying, kind of egging him on, saying, "Oh yeah, don't you remember this? Don't you remember that?"
Yeah, there seems to a lot of being people around him trying to influence his.
It's a very tangled web. It goes into Bill Mahoney of Pie and
Yeah,
Mash
that's
films.
right. Yeah, I'm not
Maloney. Sorry,
I'm not entirely. And he talks about David. They talk about David Icke being involved, and
yeah, and now Brian's calling out all kinds of names in the alternative scene, like Richie Allen and Brian Garish.
That's right.
And suggesting that they're all part of some mission to bring him down.
What do you think about that then, Lance?
I think there's probably many things going on at once. With regards to Brian Harvey, I agree with Mark. It looks like, and with what in the comment section, he's trying to tell the truth. He's being targeted. They're trying to paint him. Yeah. Mental health is the first one to take people down with an accusation of
I'm surprised
sexual,
they haven't sexually
malevolence. Didn't he do a piss test live on camera to prove that all he'd been doing was smoking weed? Because they're saying, "Oh, you're a cokehead, you're a crackhead, you've lost your mind." And he's like, "Yeah, I have done that in the past." But I think he did a test live. Yeah, well, not like live, but he said, "I'm doing this test." Showed that he wasn't under the influence of those drugs. I don't know a lot about it apart from what I've been told by Millie,
Magix,
by Oma Beats, who's been following it closely. But it seems like he's being targeted. He seems like there's a lot of Max Clifford agents around him. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a very ugly, tangled web.
Very shady. Let me try and find some of your excellently prepared slides here. Oh dear. Oh, that's going to bring me on to the next subject of Wiley. Wiley, the leading grime MC. I'm a bit of a fan of Wiley. I love Wiley. Sorry about these videos. I'm trying to get back to Mark Devlin's slide. Wiley, did you see the videos that he put out on Twitter last year?
Yeah, but he's been very quiet of late.
Well, what a surprise. After you say things like that, mentioning names that end in Steen, saying, "I haven't been at parties with young girls."
But he's been silenced, didn't he? So you've got to ask how he's been silenced. Has he been silenced with financial gain, or has he been silenced because someone's got something on him, or there's always or has he just succumbed?
I think he probably just told the truth.
Or has he been threatened?
What was the guy, David Wolf? He said his manager had basically taken $6 million of the revenue from all of his work. He said, those awards I got, I haven't got them.
Just another day at the office, isn't it?
Yeah, just another day at the office. Well, what is it? What's the film? Is it the Public Enemy film where there's a Berg or a Steen behind them, basically just taking all of the money? It's sort of an old story in the music industry, especially in hip hop, anyway. But yeah, the less said about that, the one the better. Right, here's the next slide, which we didn't even get to.
The Who, yeah.
The Who, not the Wuhan hoax organisation.
Yeah.
The original Who.
Exactly. So it's all about the lyrics from their song Won't Get Fooled Again. And I included this because it really speaks to the dynamic of social engineering. And this group would have been in a position to know. I personally feel that along with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and certain other names on the London scene of the 60s, including early Pink Floyd, they were being used as social engineering assets with ties going into military intelligence, the Tavistock Institute and organisations such as this. So they would have known how the whole thing works. And in their song, they say, "There's nothing in the streets looks any different to me." Can't see there for you.
Oh, sorry.
And the slogans are replaced by the by, and the parting on the left is now the parting on the right, and the beards have all grown longer overnight. So they're talking about how these scenes that are considered to be grassroots and organic, like the hippie counterculture scene of the 60s, we're entrained to think that they just came from the youthful generation of the time wanting to push back against the establishment and express themselves naturally. But actually, research has shown that there's so much evidence to prove that these were social engineering operations and they were deliberately contrived to change societal attitudes and the way people thought about things. And a study of the way this was done in the 60s with the hippie counterculture scene, the whole flower power thing, is a masterclass in the subject.
Sure.
And this lyric speaks to that. The
Yeah.
beards have all grown longer overnight. So, fashions, the way people look, are all the products of these social engineers as well, along with music and cultural attitudes and attitudes towards sex and family and all these other things.
I wonder, Mark, who wrote the Who's lyrics? If it was them, or if their handed song? Because I wonder how many artists actually write their own content these days.
Yeah.
Or back then. You never know who's actually.
There was a lot of
written what.
contention over the Beatles. And
Sure, absolutely.
Researchers have been going back and forth and speculating on whether it was possible for Lennon and McCartney to have written so many songs.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, Sage of Quay, did a brilliant presentation on this last year. It's 3.5 hours long.
If it's physically possible for them to
As
do
you
it.
said, Beatles, I randomly threw up this Andy Pandy comment. Aleister Crowley was on the Beatles cover too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was. He was like
Sergeant Pepper, yeah.
Yeah, Sergeant Pepper. Didn't they also
There
have an
was
album
loads-
cover
there
with
was
loads
loads
of
of people on
dismembered babies?
Yeah, they did. Yesterday and Today. That was a compilation album of previous songs that had come out in 1966. And the original British sleeve for it, which was photographed by a guy named Robert Whittaker, an Australian photographer, had the Beatles in butcher's smocks.
That's it.
Covered in dismembered babies
Yeah.
with
Fetuses.
bits of meat hung over their shoulders.
I mean,
It looked
what
like a
was the
Chinese
explanation
organ
for that
factory.
Back then, what was the explanation?
It
for
was in the midst of the so-called avant-garde scene of the 60s, which was supposed to be pushing the artistic envelope as far as possible.
Postmodernism,
Right,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
under artistic.
That's what we were talking about in
Yeah.
the psyops.
So you can get away with all kinds
Yeah,
of things
because it's just
under that
artistic
label.
temperament.
It's
Yeah.
just art.
That's how
Yeah.
we've got to the stage now where someone like
Marina
Marina Abramovich
Abramovic,
can call
precisely.
themselves an artist.
Precisely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what did
And then
we
she
cover?
gets taken with
I'm
Bill
doing
Gates.
I'm doing exactly the same as occult practices, devil worshipping, spirit cooking, but I'm only doing it as art because
That's
I'm
it.
not putting the intention. She actually admitted.
She
yeah,
actually said live on an interview. She said, "Yes, okay," because she was asked, "Okay, what you're doing is black magic," and she said, "Well, yes, kind of, but it's what environment you're creating which makes it dark black magic.
Just
So
artistic.
this is artistic temperament. If you're doing it in a ritualistic, temperament, then
Elton
it's-
John is a collector of what people would consider to be pedophilic art.
Yes.
No surprises there.
Pictures depicting young children having sex. But because that's art, he's able to get away with it. And reportedly, he's travelled around the world with it in his luggage, and he gets pulled over and they question it, and he says it's just art. It's art. And so he's allowed to proceed. And Elton John and his partner David Furnish were allowed to adopt 2 baby boys a few years ago, despite the fact that Elton John is a stated occultist, and he's got a house full of occult books, dark occult books, and he collects pedophilic art. But apparently that wasn't a problem in those 2 being vetted and considered appropriate for adopting 2 baby
It's
boys.
absolutely fine. The same as like Woody Allen. Didn't he end up marrying
Woody Allen.
his stepdaughter, who he first met when she was 12?
I've got
or something like that.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Am I
will,
sort of
I will
roughly right
just
there?
interject, right? And I'm not defending these people's behaviour whatsoever. I'm just saying, Mark, in your latest Mark Passio interview, you asked Mark Passio if you could have one message to Bill Gates, what would it be? And the first thing he said, he paused for a second, the first thing he said was, your parents did a number on you.
Your parents were garbage.
So I wonder how many of these people's parents did a number on them. Because can we actually
Well, all of
blame
them,
them?
probably.
Yeah, more often than
Can
not.
we blame them? Fully blame them. Obviously, we can blame people for their actions, but can we fully blame them if they were mind controlled and subliminally, trauma-based mind control, whatever it is? Can we fully blame them if they're acting in this way?
Well, you
If
make an
they haven't
interesting
been
point.
healed?
And it goes back to the earlier comment about Boris Johnson when he was a young lad,
boy.
was told he was going to be Prime Minister one day. So you could make the argument that, he had no choice, he was just born into it. But again, I'm sure Mark Passio would say that if you are putting harm into the world, and if you are taking away people's rights and freedoms...
Natural law, you're breaking natural law.
People who just wanted to be left alone, who were doing no harm, and you came into their world and through coercion and violence attempted to take away their rights,
regardless of what you've been exposed to,
yeah,
yeah,
then you have to be put down. You have to be
held accountable,
stopped and held accountable,
Yeah.
held in full judgment for those actions. It doesn't make a difference whether you were mind controlled into doing it. It doesn't make a difference if you were blackmailed into doing it.
Sure.
You're still putting that physical harm into manifestation. And Passio talks often about order followers,
Yes, he
police and
does.
military.
Yeah, the
And he
worst,
says,
the worst.
He says that a police officer trying to make the claim that, oh, I did this because I was just following orders.
Doesn't
Someone of
cut
a
it.
higher
Doesn't
rank
cut it.
told me to put this harm into the world. Who bears the most moral culpability out of the person that gave the order and the individual that put it into physical
Person
manifestation?
who took the physical action.
Well,
in
the
the world.
person that actually made it happen bears the lion's share of the karmic judgment.
There we go.
Whether they were coerced into doing it, tricked into doing it, blackmailed into doing it, ordered to do it, doesn't make a difference.
So I said, was it last week on the show I said this? So what's currently going on now? Okay, we've got, so we call them, Master Lee from Iniganis, he calls them horizontalists. People like your Boris Johnsons and your, just people that just identify with the physical, that they're just horizontal.
Hancock and them.
Yeah, they've got no interest in transcending.
Lord Schwab.
So we call it horizontalists. So what's going on now, I would say, is you've got the dark occultists, the dark Luciferians, using these horizontalists to, in their mind, get around natural law. That's what I think is going on. Because, like you said earlier, it's the person who takes the physical action. So, like an assassin, if you hire an assassin to take a murder contract out on someone, they're the ones pulling the trigger. They're the ones that are going to feel the most karmatic effect from the physical action taken in the world. So, how many of these artists, musical artists, have been trauma-based, mind-controlled, and subliminally mind-controlled, or
A lot of them would have been.
a lot of them, but they're still, in my mind, complicit and part of the mechanism.
They're still doing great harm.
Yeah, they're part of
they've
the
got to be
mechanism.
they've got to be stopped from doing that harm
Yeah.
because it's getting into the minds of young people,
Younger
It's-
and younger as
Yep.
well.
It's affecting subliminally the thoughts and the perceptions and the mind states of millions of people around the world, and helping to push agendas, evil agendas.
I mean, I was listening to Puff Daddy in the Family when I was 11, like all about the Benjamins. I mean, when I was 11 years old, because my older
Imagine
brother,
what you'd
2
be
years
listening
older.
to now when you're 11 years old.
Yeah.
You'd be listening to Cardi
Oh,
B.
Mark, on
it's
that,
horrific.
what is that? The what is it? Wham, whap?
WAP, wet ass pussy.
What is your opinion on that?
What is it?
Wet
WAP.
ass pussy.
You know the
that-
Cardi B song?
I'm happy to say I've avoided it entirely.
It was the biggest song of last year.
Yeah.
She won awards for it. The beat was actually superb. It was a very good beat, and it was her and Megan Thee Stallion. And the song is called WAP, Wet Ass Pussy, and it's basically about being a whore.
It's
And
so derogatory
While
towards...
Dr. Seuss was getting banned,
This was being promoted.
Yeah, that's being held up
Yeah.
as just so empowering.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
But it's satanic.
Well, absolutely.
You know,
we broke
Azalea
down the
Banks
video.
was doing the same thing a few years ago. with
Who,
just-
Azalea Banks?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
completely degraded, debased material.
Yeah.
And it was held up.
Was
One
that
of her
two,
tracks.
was that 212?
212.
Wasn't it Jay-Z that found her, though?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was Jay-Z that
And there was a
discovered
reviewer
her.
from The Guardian, this highbrow intellectual newspaper, so-called, who described 212 as artistic genius. Because apparently, that's the measure of a great song these days.
All right, we've been neglecting the fans a little bit here and the viewers. We've got some questions. Can Mark talk a little bit, if he knows, about an artist called Sun Ra, a jazz musician? You ever heard of them?
I have heard of Sun Ra, but I know very little about him/them. So sadly, I can't offer any insights.
Sun Ra.
And here's a good one. I want to talk about this. Wu-Tang's connection to the occult. The reason I am sat here is because I'm an MC. The reason I became an MC is because of Wu-Tang. You can see the Wu-Tang memorabilia all signed all around the room. I love Wu-Tang. And they recently broke my heart by promoting mask wearing, Glorious Cure, get your Maxine or else.
All over his social media, he's
Nah.
working out in the gym wearing a mask, like deadlift and stuff like with a mask.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why I used to name my public talks No More Heroes, because we've just got to let them all go. because anyone that's in the public eye, anyone who's famous, anyone who's a household name, anyone that people have heard of is controlled and is doing the bidding of their corporate paymasters. And sadly, there are no exceptions. We were talking earlier about whether it's possible that artists reach a point where they're no longer considered important assets or a threat.
Yeah.
And they are allowed to speak their mind a little bit because they're no longer considered to have that kind of influence. But while someone's at the top of their game and has that potential influence,
The reach.
Do you remember that Nas album that Nas made after he'd made Illmatic, all of those big albums, and then he made, I can't remember what it's called, but his whole album was about the global conspiracy, and it was his worst grossing album ever, and he didn't really do a lot after that. Do you remember this album?
Yeah, didn't it come out on the millennium? It was
Yes.
1999.
Yeah, I believe so.
Was it Nostradamus? Was it
No. It's not Nostradamus. It's actually an album many years after those ones.
Okay.
Omar Beats can help me out on this. Omar Beats told me about this album. I know you're watching the other room. It's a Nas album that was after Nostradamus and Illmatic and his more famous ones. It was all about military industrial. It was very Immortal Technique-ish. It was great, but it flopped. Here's a good question.
Because Nas, sorry, just to interject there, Nas put out a record called Illuminati a few years ago.
Yes, he did, yeah.
And basically, he's trashing the idea that there's this network of secret societies and stuff. And
that must have been the one who was redeeming himself to his masters afterwards. Oh, shit, I didn't know about that.
So he's saying it's all conspiracy theory and don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And that smacks of him being pulled back into line and told to do that in punishment for having spoken freely on the previous one.
I've seen that happen. Here's a question from Rahman the Writer. Rahman the Writer, we are fully aware you made a £5 super chat last week, and Omar Beats forgot to do your request. So we owe you one, Rahman the Writer. Why are musicians obsessed with Crowley, Mark Devlin?
I don't entirely know why they are. It's just the music industry is run by dark occultists.
I wouldn't say. I would argue it's not just musicians that are obsessed with it.
It's the entertainment industry.
It can be other types of celebrities, but there are more musicians than any other type of celebrities that appear to be obsessed with the occult teachings of Aleister Crowley. And many of them have been very open about it, such as Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, Elton John. Jay-Z even wore a "Do What Thou Wilt" sweatshirt with that famous Crowley phrase.
Thelema is his ideology. Is that what it's called, Thelema?
Thelema, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a theory about this. The way that I conceptualise it, the reason that Aleister Crowley is at the top of the pyramid on the Beatles album and he's looked upon... What I think he is, I think he's sort of... How shall I say it? He's the messianic archetype of the dark occultist cult that proliferates the entertainment industry, particularly, whether that is the media, music, film, television.
One of his field.
Yeah, because we can talk about different metaphors to describe it. Russian dolls within Russian dolls, a spider's web. There are many different cults and sects, in my opinion, of what we're talking about. But for me, in the entertainment industry, he is looked upon as the Jesus character, because what was the layman? Do as thou wilt. Now, what that means is basically you can do what you like, and then natural law will take its place. But then,
it's moral relativism.
It's a Satanist manifesto.
Moral relativism.
Master Lee in A Guardian says the teacher of his teacher met Aleister Crowley. Yeah.
Yes.
So I can say the teacher of my teacher met Aleister Crowley. That's quite a cool thing to say, isn't it?
If you want to boast that.
No, but anyway, he said he met him and he was unclean. He smelt. The understanding in light and dark occultists is that Aleister Crowley came up with a theory, but he didn't really practice what he preached because he just went for pure service to self, which isn't really what he was saying. Like, from my understanding of Thelema, and I'm not an expert on it, is like it's basically natural law. You want to do service to self, or you want to do service to others, here are the consequences. But he didn't really practice it. He went for the dark side. And I think, if we talk about
natural law.
Yeah, well, what are the dark occultists doing? They're attempting to sidestep or to subvert the consequences of natural law of karma. That's how we
using these horizontalists.
Yeah, attempting to.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a different time span to how we understand it.
They've all got a big shock coming, I think, if they think they've got themselves off the hook.
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you what, we've also got some questions that people have been sending into the Gmail.
I've got a question for you, Mark.
Go for it.
What do you think about Britney Spears?
Obviously mind controlled.
Yes.
Mind controlled from a very young age.
Yeah.
born into one of these important families where she was bred for stardom, for fame.
Yeah.
Showed all the signs of breaking her programming at that point where she went into the hair salon, got all her hair shaved off.
Yeah.
Classic sign of the programming starting to wear off. And she had to go back into the lab.
The MK Ultra program.
Reprogramming.
Rehab.
Reprogram.
Back to the mountain.
Yeah. And get reprogrammed and then put out there in the public eye again. We've seen this so many times with artists.
So, I mean, it's quite out in the open about her father being in control of her assets, her finances.
The conservatorship, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is, to me, very odd that would be so public and out in the open, that it's not taboo.
Yeah, there was a legal case involving her family and this guy, Sam Lutfi, who was said to be her manager, but obviously handler.
Wasn't her father trying to pass the powers to him?
They were grappling between them over who should get conservatorship of Britney. But, you know, the important thing here is the fact
rights
that
to Britney.
who
Who should get the revenue?
the important thing is that it's being argued about in the first place.
Yeah, precisely, yeah.
Because they're implying that she's not capable of handling her own affairs.
Yeah.
Why would that be? Because she's been mind-controlled to oblivion.
Bartering over an MK-controlled asset. Right, a question on the email from Zia Z, and it's like an essay, but let me just
sure is.
summarise this. A question. Can you elaborate on what frequencies are beneficial or harmful in the regards of personal taste in genres of music? We've heard in some points talk about the manipulation of certain frequencies. There's a lot of debate around hertz being beneficial, like 432 and 528. I've heard about this switch of hertz that apparently happened. Mark, what is your understanding of this?
Yes, 432 versus 440 hertz.
Right.
432 hertz was the standard tuning pitch for musical instruments, where A equals 432. A is tuned to 432, and all the other notes fall into accordance with that. And that used to be the industry standard several decades ago. But there was a move by the Rockefeller Foundation, reportedly, surprise, surprise, to change the tuning pitch to 440 hertz.
Wait a minute, I didn't know it was the Rockefellers.
No, I didn't either.
Who else would it be?
When did this happen? What year was it supposed to
Well,
happen?
this was around the time of... There was an attempt to bring it in around about 1917.
And Mark, is this across the board, every genre?
It's the industry standard in terms of recorded music. So music that goes out
on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So it was introduced around about the time of the Second World War successfully. And so all recorded music that came out on major labels from that point on for a very long time was recorded with 440 as the standard tuning pitch.
That's exactly the same time period when the cultural Marxists from the Frankfurt School came over from Germany to America to start debasing culture straight after Second World War.
So 432 is supposed to be a very harmonic frequency. It's used for healing, and musicologists and audiophiles talk about 432 as the frequency that should be used, and it falls into relation to 528, which is known as the love frequency. But 440 is anything but
satanic,
harmonious. It's discordant,
it's
and it puts you in a state of unease.
Yeah,
and it conflicts with the natural rhythms of the body, and just puts you in a state of duress and unsettled.
Have you noticed, right,
the first thing I need to know is my music made in 440? Oma Beats, is our music made in 440 hertz?
Have you noticed, I'd say, the last decade, there's been a huge push for this generic auto-tune, press the button. It's kind of a drone. It's not singing, it's not rapping. It's like just almost someone...
As a hip-hop fan, you know what we're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Will I Am and those lot.
It's not even hip-hop, is it?
But it's not hip-hop, it's its own entity. Is that being put out on the public deliberately in line with this change of...
For me, as an MC, I see it as this. Now, it is fully possible
to me, it's not creative at all.
A top-level, commercially viable superstar millionaire rapper without having a single ounce of ability to actually rap. Now, back in the 90s, that was not possible. Even people like Mace and crap commercial rappers that people will rinse all day long, they still physically, vocally had the ability to rap. They could still rap.
Yeah.
These guys now, they actually physically couldn't rap. If you put $1 million in front of them,
It's all auto-tune.
So-called
it's all,
mumble rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all. But do you know what I mean? It's a very minimal tune put to this drony.
Yeah.
Some of the beats are heavy.
It's what I call demonic sonics.
It is demonic sonics
because it sounds.
thank
It just
you.
sounds horrific. It
I
sounds
literally heard a freestyle of 3 or 4 of these guys, and
It's
they were
all
big
over
names.
the radio.
Little Uzi,
All over it.
Little Badass. They would have stupid names, and I heard them. And the DJ played this song. It was hard drill. It's like a big beat, and it's like bitches that shit in the pram, and I was did, and all the only word I could basically sort of decipher was either bitch, nigger, or shank or drugs, and it was like, and everything else was literally just it was pure garbage, and I was like,
straight garbage.
It's not.
I've
That's
not been
not
able to listen to that stuff for years.
It's not hip hop culture. I tell you what, though, there are a few MCs that are doing that style. They're actually sick MCs.
I've got some conscious rap records in my.
Yeah, we're really
arsenal
looking forward to that set. You're going to play about
And,
half an hour. I reckon
so-
he'll end up doing 45 minutes. It's Mark Devlin. You know he will.
And some of those tunes are in the style of all this stuff that One Extra plays now and Kiss FM play
Yeah.
and stuff. But it's incisive lyrics.
Have
It's
you ever heard of
meaningful
a guy
stuff.
called Prof?
No.
Prof. He's to me, he's like sort of like the new Eminem, but he's not new. A little white dude from Minneapolis, from America. And he does the sort of.
you played me one of his tunes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
yeah, he's
videos are
very
super
good.
entertaining. He's
Yeah.
he's sort of like he is like, he's not like an Instagram rapper. But, you know, he has millions of views and stuff. I'd never really heard of him until I saw him on YouTube. The guy does that style, but he's actually super duper skilled. I would play one of his tunes, but we just get a copyright strike.
no.
So let me see what else we've got on Mark Devlin's slideshow of the dark occultism in the music industry. Up next, I'll call this out. They lie to our faces, but tell the truth cryptically. For those who are able to decipher the obfuscation. So the nightly news and the proclamations of politicians will be pure deception, and usually a 180-degree inversion of the truth. Wow, this rings true. Whereas it's in what we're entrained to think of as fiction or entertainment that the truth so often lies, albeit concealed with layers of symbolism and allegory. What is that from?
That's actually an excerpt from my last book, Music
Wow.
of Truth Volume 2, talking about this dynamic of how everything in society is satanically inverted. So these institutions that we're entrained to think of as telling us the truth are actually lying to us. And that which we're entrained to think of as mindless fun and entertainment, such as movies, TV shows, music, that's where the truth lies. But you're being told it subliminally in a cryptic coded way, so you don't realize that's what's going on.
Like a double bluff.
Yeah, well, it's also their way of, as they see it, telling you what they're doing and gaining your tacit approval for it.
Tacit acquiescence, as
they see
who is
it.
it said that in the comment section? They nailed it. We speak about this. We always come back to this almost every week, don't we, Andy PG? About the consent and about how these dark occultists believe in one way or another they have to gain our consent.
But it's that's
Always.
their belief.
I think this
It's
is
their
well.
belief.
We've talked about
Don't
this.
forget what we're talking about when you get raw, when you get right back to it, as we all know, we're talking about a sun cult. We're talking about a cult that worships the sun, a death cult, but their primary thing is worshipping the sun.
Or the black
That's what
sun.
They do. The black sun, yeah. Well, that's what they do. And for those who are able to decipher the obfuscation, they deliberately obfuscate the truth. That's what the media's for. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
But they believe that if they put out the truth, whether it's obfuscated or not, that they're skipping around natural law. But it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
And I can't believe for people who are this intelligent, and don't get me wrong, I've got full respect for the intelligence of these people. I don't agree with what they're doing, but these are very smart people.
I am really
They've got the
blown
whole-
away with how they've
got
pulled
the
this
whole
off.
planet wearing fucking surgical masks.
That is a feat.
But they are psychopaths.
Of course, I'm not
They
debating
are
that.
sick and diseased
But
and
they're very
soulless.
intelligent. So, and I can't believe people of that
On an
intelligence.
intellectual, they're intellectually intelligent.
Academically,
they're not
yes.
holistically intelligent.
No, they're not, and they're not spiritual in any way.
I think these horizontalists are more like a machine. This is what I said to my speech.
I can't believe that they're that stupid that they think
No.
they
I
can
don't
avoid
think it's
the
thinking.
natural
I
law
think,
karmatic effects.
I think it's more like a knee-jerk reaction. The reptilian brain works on fight or flight.
Horde, me, I.
Yeah. I don't think
these
want,
Satanists hate the concept of a creator god. They hate the fact
Because
that
they
they're
want to be
answerable
God.
to
Because
the
they're-
creator.
yeah, that's
because
it,
they
they're
want to be their
answerable.
own gods.
Because
And
they're
They
accountable.
carry themselves as if they're their own gods, but they still have this grudging acknowledgement of the fact that they are ultimately still answerable to the one creative
Creator.
force
Yes, they
in
are.
the same way that everyone else is. So they try and cheat and trick and weasel their way around it.
We're
with
getting
their
down to
little
business
loopholes.
here on Friday night. We're really getting down to business with Mark Devlin in the studio, and it's so true. They are this. They're like sat at the poker table, and every time they roll,
I bet Prince
it's-
Philip.
everything is all in. It's all or nothing, and because they have nothing apart from the blueprint.
How do you think Prince Philip's doing right now?
I'm sure Jimmy Savile's really happy to see him again.
Do you think Diana's getting her own back?
Well,
Do you think
I'm
Diana's
sure.
been waiting for this moment.
I think their souls are being cleansed in the birthing chamber.
Or do you think they're back?
Who knows?
Do you think they're back already? Do you think? He's
Well, we're
back
assuming
already?
that those skin suits were animated by real sparks of the infinite creator, and they're not an occultic aspect
I
of the
think that
parasitic
skin suit
force.
from Prince Philip could have been a bit upgraded.
There's only so many fetuses you can crack
Who
open
knows
to
anything
regenerate
anymore?
your skin suit. Oh, what a sad day for the Sabbatean Frankish death cult that was when Lord
really
Sausage
was.
Fingers Senior finally officially kicks the bucket.
We were more sad about DMX.
I'm surprised. Yes, we were.
Oh,
Yes,
let's
we
talk
were.
about
No,
DMX. We can't
Shock
have-
G of Digital Underground today. Heard about that?
No.
Shock G passed away.
Oh shit! We had a
Mark,
comment
Mark,
earlier.
yeah, we had a comment earlier.
200 rappers in
Passed
2020
away
died.
in 2020. 200, yeah.
Wow.
200 rappers specifically.
Whoever put that comment earlier on,
whoever that was. At
can
the
we get
start
some
of the show.
background on that, please?
Be good to get the names, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
so
200 rappers.
Black the Ripper.
Black
in
the
there.
Ripper, yeah.
Did we mention that in the last interview? We talk about Black.
I think we did, yeah.
touched
Very
on it.
suspicious circumstances.
Yeah.
In Montserrat there.
Yeah.
Was that the cannabis activist?
Yeah, he was.
He was
the
talking
Dank of England.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Grime MC, Black the Ripper / Samson.
Anti-Covia.
He was actually
anti-establishment,
anti 5G.
Yeah, talking about 5G.
Right. Okay, that
I
was
mean,
his-
as the story goes, he was inciting people to burn down the 5G towers. He was basically saying 5G is frying everyone's molecular structure using the 60 hertz. We're in dangerous territory now. That particular that particular equation that basically shows you that 5G can create corona mass ejections in a human cell. You know about this? Do you know about corona? Have you heard about the coronal mass ejection? It's Well, apparently, as the story goes, and I've seen very convincing scientific research that shows that 5G, when turned to a certain frequency, can create a small coronal mass ejection within organic cells, which basically creates the symptoms of, guess what? Yeah.
Well, I found it very interesting.
Shit,
that
we
the
could probably get
symptoms
taken
of
down for that. I
guess
hope I used
what
enough code words there.
were present in every single installation of radar, telegraph, every kind of upgrade of the
You've
communication
seen the graph
system globally.
go back 100 years.
Yeah.
Dr. Dolores Carhill shared this, I think.
Yeah.
Going right back to the 1850s when they first installed like radio signals.
Yeah.
Up to Spanish flu.
Yeah,
There was
the
an
same
event like that.
symptoms is related to radiation
Yeah, so
poisoning.
MERS, SARS, swine flu, bird flu, they are all conjunct with the switch on of 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. Have you seen this graph?
And always in the year of an American election.
Oh yeah,
But this
a bit
goes
like
back-
the
this
BLM
goes-
graph.
But this goes back.
a massive
this-
spike once every 4 years.
But guys, this goes back right to the installation of the first global communication systems. There was always a pandemic around the time of.
I'm
just
almost-
look into
I'm
that.
almost-
It's a whole rabbit hole in itself.
I'm almost tempted to get some of our other slides up from earlier on. Let's see what else Mark Devlin brought along. So there's a little one from Jay-Z. We've covered Jay-Z and Kanye.
No, let's
Boule
see what,
Society.
let's see what Mark's got to say.
Yeah, no, we've
about,
got some more
that
here.
Okay, so
picture.
this is Robert Johnson.
This one.
Yeah, that's Robert Johnson, the blues musician. And he was really the origin of this idea of selling your soul for fame and fortune. So the idea is that he went to the crossroads, which is supposed to be the point where the spiritual world merges with the physical world. And according to this legend, this fable that's existed, it's a variation on the myth of Faust, the German story of Faust, of this guy that sold his soul in exchange for great worldly knowledge. In the music industry version of it, Robert Johnson wanted to be a very successful blues musician, blues guitarist, and he made a deal with the devil at the crossroads where he was promised great musical skills if he would give the devil his soul. And so that's the way the legend went down, and it's been repeated
He wrote a
throughout
famous
the
song
decades.
about this. Is there like a folk song about this actual happening? About
yeah, there was The Devil Went Down to Georgia, wasn't it? It was a
this is the one I'm
country
thinking
song.
of, yeah, country
I
song.
forget the name of the artist, but there was a song about this. And Robert Johnson died in very strange circumstances in 1938 on the 16th of August. And the 16th of August turns out to be a pretty unlucky date for musicians because it's the date that Elvis Presley is said to have died, although I don't accept that he did at that time. It's also the date on which Aretha Franklin died. So you've got Robert Johnson, who was known as the King of Blues, Elvis Presley, known as the King of Rock and Roll, and Aretha Franklin, known as the Queen of Soul, who all passed away on the 16th of August, which also happens to be Madonna's birthday.
If Inner Guardians was in on the chat, he'd start talking about the playing cards and the occult use of the playing cards. So you've got the king and the queen, 2 kings and 2 queens, all going down on one certain day. So the 4 suits of the playing card. Remember the whole presentation, Andy, that Lee did about the deck of playing cards and the occult meaning of a regular deck of playing cards?
I said to Lance before when I knew you were coming back in the studio, I said to Lance, I really want Mark to take a look at Inner Guardian's work because I really think he would be of interest with the
massive thank you for George that just donated £10 because he really enjoyed the stream. Massive thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. If you want double LMC, you can do this on Super Chat. £10 is super generous, like £1 if you enjoyed the show. A £5, massive. £10, wow. Thank you very much, George.
Yeah, I really think Mark would like Inner Guardian's work.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. I'll have to take a look.
I'll show you. I'll send you his.
He's been in the shadows for some time.
Yeah, he's a close protection specialist, and he's basically. If you type in this guy's name on Google, it will say he is the godfather of UK MMA. A serious martial artist, close protection specialist, and now he's making videos about how occult knowledge can help us get through what's to come with the Great Reset. So it's very important work from Inner Guardians. What's next with the slides? Yeah, selling your soul to the devil. This has been repeated. Bob Dylan, Neil Young, all of the great folk singers talked about selling the soul to the devil, and that's sort of been repeated throughout the music industry.
Yeah,
rappers talk
this
about
was the origin of the myth.
Right, so that's very interesting. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Who knew it came from this particular dude? God, it looks a bit like George Floyd. Won't talk about that though, because that's just boring and divisive. Next. What we got here? Oh, we talked about Bambaataa earlier on.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's, we can skip that.
We can skip that one. Right, the Beatles. Here is your specialty, and I'm just going to hand this one over to you, Mr. Devlin, because this is what you are known for, talking about the Beatles and Paul McCartney.
Yeah, well, the Beatles were, in my view, a construct of the Tavistock Institute. They were used for social engineering purposes. There are researchers who differ greatly on these viewpoints because the Beatles tend to create great interest among music researchers, more so than any other group. And you have people who make their entire careers off the back of studying this particular group. And many of them stick to the official biography, the official version of events, but the more daring ones go into some of these more occult and esoteric realms. And when you do, you find a whole load of stuff about the Beatles. It's a good friend of mine, Matt Sergiu, runs a blog site called The Occult Beatles. He's a very thorough researcher, and he takes a deep dive into all the symbolism behind the Beatles and all these nefarious affiliations and links. We've got a picture here of them with umbrellas, and they're in a black and white design, which is identified as a mind control trigger, going back into the world of mind control programming. And it would seem that John Lennon certainly was a product of mind control, as we were talking about with other artists earlier, and Yoko Ono would appear to have been put in as his handler because they had a very strange relationship as a husband and wife. She was a few years older than him, and he used to view her as a mother figure. He used to actually call her mother because he had some mother issues himself, having lost his own mother at a young age when she was run over and killed by an off-duty policeman, of all things, when he was about 14.
And then he's holding up the black and white. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to Paul McCartney, there's been this music industry myth and legend, very similar to the Robert Johnson one, which has persisted for decades. I remember first hearing about this when I was at school in the 80s. Kids there were talking about it because there was supposed to have been a clue placed on the cover of the Beatles' Abbey Road album. pertaining to the idea that the real Paul McCartney had been killed in
That's
a car
right.
accident in
Yep.
1966 and had been replaced by an imposter
Yeah.
who's been playing the
double.
public role of Paul McCartney ever since. And so this whole area of research is known as PID, or Paul is dead. And it's a very persistent conspiracy theory.
I know your thoughts on this, Mark.
Well-
From what you've spoken, I'm going to let you say it to the.
My
to the
thoughts have
audience,
actually fluctuated.
I
somewhat
know exactly what you're going to say
over the
yeah.
years. So with my first book, Musical Truth Volume 1, I addressed this whole conspiracy theory. I went to town with all the clues that have been placed, or are said to have been placed, in Beatles records and on sleeves and things that have been said in interviews over the years, and they all seem to hint at the idea that the guy we have today is not the original Paul McCartney, and that the original Paul did indeed die. Then I got exposed to some alternative theories.
You were on board with that originally.
I was on board with that, yeah. When I first started out in this area of research, I bought that idea. But then I had a whole load of other evidence dumped in my lap that I had to take a look at as an open-minded, critically thinking researcher.
Professional researcher.
I had to take this on board. And people were showing me photographs and video footage that appeared to show that there had been two Pauls. So there were clearly two different guys. But they'd been at all stages of the Beatles' career, kind of fluctuating in and out of the role.
Is it the earlobe or something? Is it the
Well, it's the eyebrow.
It's the eyebrow, yeah.
So where I'm at now, and this is what I'll be presenting in Musical Truth Volume 3, is I've revised my standpoint again, because one thing that bothered me was the fact that there are early photographs of a very young Paul.
That's right.
And he's got a very distinctive arched right eyebrow. And this was a family trait, because the real Paul McCartney's old man, Jim, had this arched right eyebrow, and it got passed on biologically to his son.
Very distinctive.
Yeah. So you got a young Paul McCartney, pre-fame, before the Beatles had broken through, who looks this way. And he looks very similar to the guy we've got today. And it leads me to think that the guy we've got today probably is the original and the real Paul
yeah.
McCartney. However, there was a point in the 1960s and possibly beyond where they inserted another Paul. I don't know why.
So it's kind of a double whammy.
A double bluff.
Yeah, double bluff that he was taken out. The original one was taken out maybe because he wasn't playing ball initially.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason was for putting two in. Maybe it was just a mind game. It was a bloody mind fuck. Maybe they just wanted to see
mockery.
Yeah, satanic mockery, and maybe they just wanted to see if they could get away with it, or maybe it was part of some ritualistic stunt. I really don't know. But there was another Paul, and I think the one we've got there with the umbrella is, as far as I can make out, that is the replacement, the non-real Paul.
Yeah, the imposter.
And yet, most Beatles fans or people that look into this idea would tell you that's the real
That's
Paul,
the original,
and that he
yeah,
was
the
replaced
real.
by the guy we have today.
Sure.
But my contention is that that is the guy that they inserted, who is not the real Paul, who was put in there as a double. So he was slightly shorter than the one we've got today. He's more or
Slightly
less,
shorter, didn't have the eyebrow.
yeah, he's more or less the same height as John Lennon there.
Yeah.
And he's got a fatter, rounder face than the
Yes,
Paul
he
we know
has,
today.
yeah.
He's got a much longer, thinner face.
Yeah.
And he's clearly
Yeah,
taller.
because Paul McCartney, he's kind of known for his almost like beaverish features with his cheeks.
Yeah.
You know, he's got those
He's got a very distinctive look.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. Very
And
distinctive.
when you look back over photographs and video footage from over the years, you do see these two characters. So sometimes it's one of them, other times it's the other one.
But you
And-
think
and it
you've
could-
nailed it to who's who.
Well, that's the way I'm feeling about it now.
Yeah,
which,
sure. I'd say you're right.
Well,
I'd
it
say you're
differs.
right.
It differs with the viewpoint of various other high-profile
And
researchers.
again, it takes a
into this.
real man to come out and say that you changed your mind and
Changed my
it's-
mind on a few
that's
things.
it.
Changed my mind on Q/Trump in recent weeks.
God, if we want to get into that, I mean the
Well,
whole Q
maybe we
psyop.
shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean we covered that in a couple of shows back. The psyops.
Yeah.
Show. I mean, I agreed with you actually, Mark. You were the first person which swayed my mind towards the idea that the Q psyop was to get the huge, vast number of armed, patriotic American patriots to stand down because they thought someone else was doing it and they didn't have to.
Leave the firearms in the cabinet.
Yeah, so that there wasn't this civil unrest. But I mean, I'd have thought when Joe Biden got in and Donald Trump didn't after that huge...
Well, I'm just wondering.
I was very surprised.
I'm wondering how American patriots are staying so patient and so
I am,
placid in all of this. Not that I wish for there to be an uproar and a bloodbath. That's the last
No,
thing I want.
absolutely not, no.
But if they've all been sitting peacefully in platitude at the idea of this Q plan,
waiting, yeah. I mean,
how long are they going to continue waiting?
if you look at it, I mean, I looked at. I think Mark Passy did a video. It wasn't one of his. I think it was his last "What on Earth Is Happening" podcast, which wasn't really anything informational about Esoteric's teachings, but it was more of a rant of him. He had a clown horn there, and he was screaming, saying, "You bobo wearing your mask."
Yeah.
But he was at the point then, which was just way beyond patience with the general public. But
been there myself.
Yeah, I know you had a couple of rants in your car, didn't you?
Yeah.
Recently, Mark.
Well, that original rant in my car really
was
put
that was
me
that
on the
you
map.
did an anniversary of that a year
last
anniversary,
weekend. Yeah,
that was
yeah.
right.
1 year on. That wasn't really a rant. I was quite calm on that.
Yes,
one.
yes, you were. Yeah.
But the
it was
initial
funny
one
to
was
do
a
it
rant.
in your car. Yeah.
And it's how I was feeling at the time, and it really struck a chord with a lot of people.
You had a lot of plans booked, didn't you? What plans did you have?
Yeah, I was supposed to be on an Australian speaking tour the
That's
week
right.
that
For your book
COVID
launch.
dropped. Yeah. I was supposed to be going out there and doing presentations in Sydney, Brisbane and Perth. Got my flights booked. Been looking forward to it for months, planning it for months. I had quantities of books shipped over to Australia, ready for me to arrive.
So a lot of work went into that.
Yeah, and it was the very week that all the COVID bullshit happened that I was due to be travelling. I was supposed to be flying out on the 16th of March, and there was all this noise being made about borders starting to be closed, and this so-called virus was getting all out of control. And I had to make the very difficult decision of whether to travel,
Or stay
but
home
risk
with your
not being
family,
able to
yeah.
get back, or just play it safe, lose all my money, and stay where I was. And there was only one choice in the end. I had to stay where I was.
Of course.
Yeah.
What
so
an absolute fiasco! Imagine that spread over so many millions of people. All of the lost revenue.
everyone's got a story to tell.
all
Yeah.
the lost opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine the mayhem and the chaos and the suffering that's been caused by this stunt. It's just monumental. It's immeasurable. And the architects of this, whoever
Well,
they are, have got all of that to
You're-
answer for.
you're-
Because that's
I know
all going to
who they
weigh
are.
down on them.
You're most.
It's Lord Schwab.
You need to, Mark's video. We need to share Mark's video of "We Cannot," or what is it? Title, Mark. We do not forgive, cannot forget.
Never forgive, never forget.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree.
What we don't want is a situation where, if they stay true to their word, they are bloody liars, of course, you can't trust them.
On the
But they've-
solstice, yeah.
They've
Yeah,
stated
yeah.
that on the 21st of June, all the restrictions go.
The
I
sun
don't,
cult, yeah, the solstice, yeah, sun cult, guys.
I
If
don't
you're
trust
not, if
them.
you're not awake to it now, the sun cult.
but even if it did, even if these restrictions got removed, the danger is that people will be so relieved that this nightmare is finally coming to an end. They just want to get back to normal. They're prepared to put this last year and a half behind them, just forget it ever happened and get our lives back and move on. That can't happen. Those that did this to us need to be held to account.
Hancock, Whitty, Valance,
I've said
Johnson.
I've
all
said
of them.
that this summer
Traitors,
is
a
absolutely
lot.
crucial, right? Because if what we think is going to happen when on June the 21st they give us our 3 or 4 months of peasant holiday time back when we're not got lockdown, many people, we used to call them normies or sheep, we won't call them that now.
We can't do that.
We're not going to.
we
Those
really
people
can't
that
do
haven't
guys.
cottoned on yet, what I fear is that they're going to go back to their 3 or 4 months of COVID peasant holiday, and they'll be so elated, and they're just going to forget what's going to happen, like you just said. But not only that, what will happen again in, maybe it'll be October 31st, maybe it'll be the next Hunter's Harvest Blue Moon, or maybe I'll be able to predict it when they do the hard lockdown this year, maybe. But when that happens, I really think that those people will just go into reset. Oh, lockdown again. They won't clock that there's a cycle. And I really fear that if we don't make a change this summer, when we go into that next cycle starts, I think, like what Yuri Bezmenov said in that meme, this process is irreversible. I think many people will be fully converted
People
to
will come to
Covietism.
accept that every winter now we go into
well,
lockdown.
that's what
It will
happens,
just-
isn't it?
And
it'll
guys,
just be
don't
accepted.
forget, and this is pure speculation, right? I'm purely speculating now.
Everything we've speculated so far
What
came true.
if Well, this isn't. I hope this isn't true, but you know, we all know that they're going to try climate change lockdowns, right?
Yeah.
So what if the whole COVID-19 lockdowns were just predictive
Test
programming
run.
to get us ready for that, a test run for that?
I think
and that's going to be the real one.
Well, that's what we said in the Greta Reset.
Yeah.
When we come up with this concept of the Greta Reset, the Great Reset isn't just about finance. It's not just about riding off COVID. It's not just about carbon. It's all of those things being
together.
used as an excuse for one thing: totalitarian control.
Mark, can I ask you a question? I know you didn't want to talk, but we're already on it. Right, so
Code words, please.
all these people have now showed their hand. Yeah, the dark occultists have showed their hand, whether it's through Boris Johnson, Hancock Whitty, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, whoever. They've showed their hand now, and it's not getting... You can't put the cat back in the bag, okay?
Yeah.
We know that. But we all know that people like Boris Johnson, Hancock Whitty, they're going to take the fall for it. But does that really matter? Truly matter if some physical beings take the fall for it? Because really, the true people responsible are still there lurking in the background. And if this doesn't work, the COVID-19 thing, and they have to take the fall for it, so be it for them. Because they're just going to lurk in the background and prepare something else. Do you think it really matters whether Boris Johnson, Hancock, Whitty take the fall and are held accountable? Because the real people responsible, and I don't even think
That's
people
the
like
same as
Klaus
this
Schwab
question here.
are
It's like-
responsible. I don't think they're responsible. He's just a mouthpiece, same as Bill Gates, just a mouthpiece. The true ones responsible. We don't know who their names are. We don't even know what they look like.
Even Lord
And
Schwab
they're
is an
still
employee.
going to be lurking there when these people do, eventually take the fall.
Yeah, but we know where they've wanted to take things. As you say, the cat is out of the bag now. It ain't going back in anytime soon. And the likes of us that have researched this for years, we know where this is all headed. It's just happened a lot quicker than many of us expected. We knew what the New World Order master plan was. We've got it expressed now as the Great Reset and
Agenda 2030.
Agenda 2030.
Agenda 21, yeah,
it's all headed to the same place,
documented.
which is totalitarianism, as you say, top-down, complete
Operation
control.
Lockstep, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really don't feel they're going to be able to succeed now, because it's just they've shown their hand too much. Too much has been revealed.
Do you think they were too hasty? Do you think they needed another 20 years of programming?
Absolutely, yeah. I've heard it suggested that this agenda was, well, it's there in the name, Agenda 2030.
And they brought
that
it
everything
forward.
they've done in 2020 was intended to be done in 2030, but they felt they might not have that 10 years, so they had to go all out and bring it in 2020.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to suggest that Lord Schwab has been too ambitious?
Well, he is 83. Maybe he thought he wouldn't live to
Lord
93.
Schwab's 83.
Yeah, I don't think... Lord, he's just
I didn't
a
realise he was
mouthpiece.
83.
He's
I thought he
just
was
a
like-
mouthpiece.
Well, he
Same as-
drinks a lot of...
if we know
he drinks
their
a lot of...
names,
He's only a Soros.
If
Yeah,
we
yeah,
know
yeah.
their names, they're not responsible. If we
Yeah,
know who
sure.
they are, they're not responsible.
Well,
Yeah, agreed.
okay. Well, I reckon I could name a couple of people above Lord Schwab. You're
However,
talking about...
I am interested in people like the perpetrators of 9/11, i.e. Comey, and people like that. Is it Comey who was in charge of
FBI?
Where the planes were headed?
Wasn't it Rumsfeld?
No. Who was in charge of the to instruct the planes to do their?
That was Rumsfeld.
Was it Rumsfeld?
Yeah, Donald Rumsfeld.
So I would argue that he is a dark occultist with some level, because it would take someone at a high level to
Stop
actually...
grinding my chair on the table.
It would take someone at a high
But
level...
again, we've heard his name. We know who he is. So
Yeah. But
can
I
he
was-
be that high up in
Yeah,
the pecking
actually,
order?
yes. Good argument.
Yeah, because I used to think that by default, all of these sort of key players would be what we would describe as a dark occultist. But a dark occultist doesn't just mean someone that's gone to the lodge and wanked in a coffin. It doesn't really just mean someone that's been there when something else happened.
No.
It means someone that's a manifester, a practitioner, someone that is setting out plans, laying down things that are going down the pyramid and then manifesting themselves into physical reality, rather than being a part of the structure and taking an order from the dark hooded figure at the lodge or whoever, So it's an interesting thing to talk about.
Because I don't personally think Bill Gates is that hard. Someone fucking pied him back in the 90s. 3 assassins with pies got the guy.
I think
He's
Bill
not
Gates
that
is a
protected, mate.
supremely physically
How long do you
feeble
think he'd
individual.
last in jail?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think he's that. He's that. If he was that important, he would have been protected. There was no way someone could throw pies in his face walking in a courtroom or wherever he was doing.
Let's
a
get back to
meeting.
the email questions, and it's sort of the same. Steve says, can we ask Mark Devlin, is he positive about the future, or are we literally doomed to a dystopian nightmare? Thanks, Rise Above.
It's nothing like some doom and gloom questions here, right?
Straight to the
I
jugular.
know all about doom and gloom.
Straight to the
trust me.
jugular, Mark.
I have to believe that there's a positive end to all of this. I've got a family, so I have to remain focused on an outcome that is going to be beneficial to humanity. But looking at the way things are panning out, I truly don't believe that they're going to be able to take this plan through to full fruition, because they've just made it too obvious now.
Do you think they'll get a bit in, Mark? Do you think they'll be able to get, like, you know, a V passport or something, like, you know,
They already have
a little bit of control?
They already have.
I mean,
I like to
globally-
think there's going to be some pushback on that. We haven't had the summit yet.
Sorry,
we
that,
haven't
that
had
was
the...
just an example. Like, do you think that, you know, there's loads of parts to their plan that, you know, we haven't talked about yet, but do you think they'll get?
They
you're gonna
haven't
get
managed
bits
to
and
do
bobs done?
one thing consistently globally yet. Not even COVID at 1984. There was still a good handful of countries spread across
Tanzania,
different
Putin.
continents. Not just the African ones that lost their
No,
leaders.
Putin.
Belarus, Cambodia. Cambodia literally has 0 COVID deaths.
Some South American countries as well. I
Well,
believe, or
Brazil,
not.
Bolsonaro was not doing COVID
No.
for the first year. Then they had all those apparent, like, you know, mass burials, which all were shown to be fake. It's like what we showed about. I don't know if you watched the stream on the way down. India, apparently they're burning piles of bodies to such an extent that furnaces are melting. That's what the Daily Mail.
I've never
That's
heard
what
of
we're
a
told.
furnace melting, and I'm a chef.
Look,
you know,
look
I
here
know
we-
how ovens
let me
work.
find it. Let me find it. Where is it?
Are you all right to talk about this, Mark? We don't want to.
Sorry, we weren't going to do COVIDism, were we?
Well, I feel there's going to be a lot of low-level politicians that might have been given the heads up that something was coming, but they weren't fully clued in on how extensive it would be.
Right.
And there's
Yeah.
going to be people like this that are now starting to wonder what's going
who
on.
originally
We
complied.
weren't told about
Yeah.
this. This is affecting my life and my family's lives now. I'm not with this anymore. And I like to think there's going to be some pushback from those kinds of people. Also in the mainstream media, so-called journalists must be starting to wonder what's going on now. They're not fully up on what the plan is.
Not like your
Maybe-
Piers Morgan. Well,
Look,
it's right on
in The
board.
Guardian
Morgan's
sometimes
a key
says
player.
the enemy of the enemy is my friend, right? And what Mark just touched on there, I had this conversation with the missus the other week. I said, imagine all of these guys that are high-level civil servants and the politicians. They thought, yeah, they're going to do this for about a year.
gonna cream
We'll
it.
cash in.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
some nice track and trace contracts. We'll get some really nice bogus PPE contracts. We're literally going to make millions. And then this will happen. But 12 months down the line, what they're starting to realise
Looking
is
so rosy now, is
the
it?
Soviet Union is a slightly little bit more all-encompassing than just rinsing the peasants for 12 months while you guys line your pockets. Little did you know.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Little did you know. The Great Reset doesn't have room for millionaires
So
and
they're being
bureaucrats.
played as well.
It only has room for the super elite, the what's it called? The was it not venture capitalists? Stakeholder capitalists. That's what they call it. It only has room for the stakeholders. And guess what? If you're not,
peasantry.
you are the peasantry. Yeah. So you know sometimes these
It's a
greedy
numbers
bastards might be our friends. The enemy of the enemy.
It's a
is our
numbers
friend.
game. You know, there's very few of the real controllers, the real architects of this narrative, and there's lots and lots of us.
Mark, what do you think's going on with the Queen?
I have no idea, mate.
What do you think?
I
What do you think's
wish
going
I
on
knew.
with the Queen in regards to the Soviet Union? Do you think she's been tucked away because obviously she knew what was going to go on, but do you think she's been tucked away, you know, out of the public eye because she's getting old? Because obviously there could be some fucking huge riot pushback that the.
Is she even
Well,
still alive?
I don't know what's going on there. I mean, a few months back, I thought she'd been removed one way or another, whether she died or whether she'd been arrested or just removed from the scene. She's been seen out supposedly in public recently at Philip's funeral and stuff.
She
even
supposedly
though-
knighted Mr. Tom, Captain Tom.
Yeah,
Word nerd,
yeah,
you've got
yeah.
to stop jumping in, mate. You're affecting the stream. I'm really sorry.
Although she did appear on a Zoom call the other week,
Did she now?
talking about the
Did
vaccine.
she? Did she?
We
And
played,
that
we
was-
played that one, didn't we? We
that
played
was
that.
clear CGI.
It was a
fake
deep fake, wasn't it? Thank you very much,
And
Mark.
what,
Very much.
and
deepfake.
like, what was going on at Christmas time? We covered it on the show.
Yeah, the Channel 4
With
deep
that
fake.
Yeah,
Channel 4
they showed you how it was done.
Come on.
Revelation of the method.
Come on.
Yeah.
Look at Lord Sausage
So I
Fingers.
don't know what's going on there. They've been using a fake Prince Charles. They've
For
been using
some
an actor.
time, for some time, yeah.
So are you saying that the guy with the really swollen fingers is not the real Prince Charles? Is Lord Sausage Fingers the imposter? Because have you seen the pictures of his fingers, Prince Charles?
I've missed that.
No,
Right,
get
please.
one up, get
No,
one
right,
up.
okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll get it up.
You Jamie for me, please. So since we're just doing the basic rabbit hole assault course here, right? What is your thoughts on that guy who appeared last year who claimed to be the real new king of England?
Oh, Greg Hallett.
Greg Hallett,
Yeah.
please.
Well, I've
take
met
it
him.
away.
I've met Greg.
You've met Greg Hallett?
Yeah, I met
oh
him.
Oh my God.
I met him a few years ago when I was doing a presentation in Norfolk. I was doing a presentation based around my book. And I ended up, after the talk, in this house, sitting up late at night with Greg Hallett. And he showed me his alternative family tree.
Right.
And his claim is that the royal bloodline was usurped round about the time of Queen Victoria by the Rothschilds, would you believe?
Yep. Yeah, I know.
And
You're
so the family tree veers off in a different direction in terms of the true parentage and the true ancestry of everyone involved. So he says everyone from Queen Victoria onwards has basically been illegitimate. And nobody is the child or the parent of who you think they are. They're all having incestuous affairs here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, but the worst thing is, I think that's true. I think that part of the story is true from my own research.
What was that White Rabbit document that he had?
Oh God, he had some letter from Queen Victoria that was like sealed with a white rabbit seal.
Being sent back to him from the Historical Society or some historical, and they said no, that's for you. And he said no, I don't
Just
want
a small backtrack. This is what we're talking about. This is what we call Prince Charles Lord Sausage Fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Look at these chipolata pictures.
Yeah.
Absolute
swollen.
Absolute
adrenochrome, mate.
Swollen. Is that the actor or is that the real one?
Well, let's dig a little deeper. Here he is with his sausage fingers.
That appears to be the real one.
That appears to be the real one. Is it Gout that does stuff like this? Here's a picture of him with every single picture consistently sausage fingers.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's what we call the man Lord Sausage
Go back, Lance.
Sorry, I just got rid of the window. That moment is lost in time.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, I don't think you could get that ring off.
No way. You know that's the same ring that
we all know what that ring is.
That's like a Podesta, Weinstein, Maxwell ring. Yeah.
Should we? What's the time? Is it? Should we take a little break there?
Yeah, we should take a break. Hey, DJs. Oh, right.
Is it?
Mark, are you in a rush to get off and you enjoying yourself?
I am enjoying myself, but I'm a bit tired.
A bit tired. All right, we need to get to Mark's in a minute. So what we'll do is we will take a couple of minute break, and then when we return, we'll have a little chat, and we'll hand over to Mark Devlin. It sounds fuzzy. Okay. Right. Do you want to play? Yeah. Just play for 5 minutes, and then we'll hand over to Mark, and we'll get rid of the fuzziness here. So Mark Devlin in the chat. Oma Beats is going to take us through a little 5-10 minute break, and then we'll hand over to Mark Devlin. Sorry, he's not quite ready yet. Yeah, amazing tonight, absolutely banging. Big up Mark Devlin in the studio. It's Rise Above on a Friday night. Take a little break, everyone. Everyone in the we've got static. Guys, sorry about that. Right, let's hand over to our DJ for a moment. Big up.
At this time, brothers and sisters, it is indeed my pleasure to introduce to you a brother who's been around for a long time. 1, 2, mic check. Just come through us like the dance. Not the one I am, but to live this fake idea. I've been doing this from before you were born. Trust. I'll tell you this star. We began for this long to get this far, but we still ain't got nowhere. Believe me, watch. I don't wanna blow up throughout every era I've been here. So far the underground circuit has been fair, the home of hip hop. Can you say you've been here? Home's where the heart is, so hip hop lives right here. We're from UK to you that I seem rare. I'm stepping up now to make sure we're seen clear. In every track that I stay, we got pure talent. No one don't care because we're seen as a challenge. I suppose we'll never be the balance that you're looking. You wanna dilute the realness and bring a hook in. We'll stay in our cats I've ever met was all shocking. I'm lost for words if they don't bring a checkbook in. I'm living in a place where you can get your life took in. For half stepping, my kids little blast weapons. Pull up at the lights, they'll have you out in half seconds. Think you're rough.
Lately I've been doing this from the warm black trust. I tell you this now, we've been down for this long to get this far, but we still ain't got nowhere. Believe me, watch. I don't wanna blow up throughout every era I've been here. So far the underground circuit has been fair, the home of hip hop. Can you say you've been here? Home's where the heart is, so hip hop live right here. We're from UK to you, that might seem rare. I'm stepping up now to make sure we're seen clear. In every council and state we got pure talent. No one don't care because we're seen as a challenge. I suppose we'll never be the balance that you're looking. You wanna dilute the realness and finger hooking. Most stay in our cats I've ever met was all shocking. I'm lost for words if they don't bring a checkbooking. I'm living in a place.
Right, pull it, guys. We are going to restart the stream on Double LMC and on Rise Above Life immediately. We will be back with Mark Devlin immediately. I'm really sorry about the fuzziness. Go straight back onto the next thing that appears on YouTube, Double LMC or Rise Above Life. We will be back straight away. Boom.